Rich Mitch, I fucking love you. Yeah, buddy!
Yeah, man!
Mike, who's your daddy? Chat, we love you too. Guys, this is going to be the best stream ever. Merry Christmas Eve, because today somehow, I'm not sure how this is going to happen, but we are going to manifest Pierre Bourdon to come on stream so we can wish him a Merry Christmas and tell him how much he is very much appreciated. Rich, I don't know how we're going to do this, but I feel it. I feel it with every inch of my bones.
We need to search every castle in northern France.
Somebody here, we've got 30 people in the chat. I'm sure we're going to hit higher numbers. Somebody here must know somebody that knows Pierre Bourdon that can pass this message along. And all we want him to come on for a few minutes or longer, just so we can say Merry Christmas and how much we love him. That's it.
Yeah.
How you doing, Rich?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm pumped. I'm pumped. I feel good. Christmas is not in the air, even though it should. I don't feel like it's Christmas. There's no snow, and I don't know. But I'm happy to be here. I'm glad that you're here with me. I'm glad to see you and hear you, and I'm glad to see everybody in the chat. And I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that we're gonna get to connect with Pierre Bourdon.
Yes. I'd like to talk to Pierre Bourdon. Tell him we love him.
Are you a fan of Pierre Bourdon?
Yes, I'm a huge fan of Pierre Bourdon. I think Pierre Bourdon is, one of the best perfumers ever, if not the best, and somebody who has taught some of the best as well, and was taught by one of the best. He is a pure thoroughbred perfumer. His legacy, his achievements, his creativity, consistency. He's got everything that a genius, like a true genius, should have. His competence. He's extremely competent perfumer. I know competent is like, I mean competence in that, like, everything he does, you can guarantee that it's going to be like of a certain quality, you know, like nothing Pierre Bourdon does is going to be like poor quality. Everything he does is going to be quality, good quality, high quality. And then you just know that he's going to be able to reach heights that other people aren't going to be able to reach in some of the things that he does.
You know what I think is another mark of a great perfumer, and not even looking at the things that Bourdon has created, but go into his students' portfolio, into their resumes, and pull out some of their greatest works.
Yes,
that's all a reflection of Bourdon as well. I'm not sure who all of his students are, but I'm sure there's plenty good ones.
Yeah, I mean that Jean-Christophe Rowe, Julian Rasquinet apparently.
Yeah.
Christopher Sheldrake worked with him at Quest, I believe, because the only well, like Gabe was saying during that interview, that Christopher Sheldrake's the only perfumer that he's ever worked on co-signed a perfume with.
Sorry, say that again.
Like Christopher Sheldrake is the only perfumer that Pierre Bourdon has ever co-signed a perfume with. So Féminité du Bois by Shiseido was co-signed by Christopher Sheldrake and Pierre Bourdon. They worked on it together. But Pierre Bourdon has never worked on another perfume and co-signed it with anyone else ever.
Really?
Yeah. If anybody would like to correct us,
I never even thought of that or noticed it, but what do you think are some of Bourdon's greatest works? I know we've talked about this before, but let's put it all in one place.
So, again, we could go back to what greatest is defined by. But you would have...
his most successful or most recognized
Creative.
pieces. Yeah, most creative, most commercial even. I mean, commercial is success.
Yeah. So if we're to start reaming them off, we could start at the beginning, and you would have to say Koros, which defined a generation of perfumes. You would have to say, because of the 80s powerhouses. You would then have to move on to things like Green Irish Tweed, Cool Water, which defined another generation of perfumes, the first ever aquatic. Jupe Homme, he did the original Jupe Homme, which became that huge sweet thing. Like masculine perfumes were never like big sweet bombs back in the day until 1989 when Jupe Homme came out. What did he do in the 90s? I did Bois de Portugal, obviously. Millésime Impérial, Feminique
Did that as
Dubois.
well? Millésime Impérial.
Yeah,
Do you
apparently, yeah.
do you like Millésime Impérial?
Yes, I've got a vintage bottle off a nude from Enchanté.
But do you wear it? Do you wear it?
I haven't worn it yet. I only got it a few weeks ago. I haven't worn it yet. That'll be a summer perfume for me.
So how would you rank these Millésime Impérial, Irolfa, Silver Mountain Water?
So I would put just the three of them.
Right. Because
just
I'm
those
sure
three.
they would come after Bois de Portugal and Green Irish Tweed.
Yeah, just the three of them. I would probably put Silver Mountain Water, then Millésime Impérial, then Irolfa. Irolfa doesn't smell nice on me. Irolfa smells pretty fucking terrible on me, actually.
Really?
It goes a bit like Paul Monsieur. It goes sour. Sour and twangy and there.
This guy Denby seems to know everything. I'm sure he knows the whereabouts of Captain Bourdon, and maybe he can help us get him on.
Captain Bourdon.
Captain Bourdon. Here's one of my favorite Bourdons, and this is actually, I just applied this right now. I wore Musc Ravageur today on my way to work, and right before I got off the elevator, I said, you know what, I'm going to leave a little bit of my identity here in the elevator, and I unleashed a couple of sprays, and that was about 4 a.m., 4:30 a.m. when I left here, and about 5 hours later, it was like 9:30, 10:30, I got a text message from somebody living in the building. They're like, did you break a bottle of cologne in the elevator or something?
Jesus Christ.
Like it was like 3 or 4 sprays.
Oh God.
Yeah.
In the elevator, just for good measure.
Yeah, they can still pick it up. But this is what I'm in today. And one spray of this, okay, one, and it is a beast. And it is slightly animalic. It's not an easy iris to wear. It's an aldehydic iris. But it's a really pretty one.
Did you not say that this reminds you of Chanel No. 5, and
Slightly.
that it was, and it felt like a nightgown, like a ball gown perfume?
Yeah, like a large 5. This is more difficult to wear than 5.
Yeah.
This is, going out to the ball, the grand ball, and wearing a massive, beautiful ball gown. And everybody's in ball gowns and tuxedos.
Ball gowns and tuxes.
Yeah, absolutely gorgeous.
Outrageous. Very soft, very powdery, very fuzzy.
Are you familiar with it?
A little bit. Excuse me. A little bit. I'm not overly. I think I bought like a 10 mil of it, and I'd put some on my hand before I like left the shop, and I was smelling it, and I got outside, and I just had to take it back. I had to take it back, and I changed it for something else. I think I changed it for Vetiver Extraordinaire, actually, the one I broke. And it just turned very, very grandma-ish. It reminded me a bit of Le Bleu.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn. Do you see the comment pinned on the screen?
No.
Yope. Was it said that Yope was done by Bourdon?
It is done by Bourdon. It says on Fragrantica that it was done by Michel Almarac.
That's right. I just had a look, and it does say Michel Almarac.
Yeah, but it's not. It's not done by Michel Almarac.
That's an error.
That's a mistake by Fragrantica. That's the problem with Fragrantica. It's not always new.
Well, I'm sure it's difficult, or it can't be easy to keep track of tens of thousands of perfumes and who created it. So we forgive this. We forgive them. I'm going to drop the link if somebody wants to come on and say Merry Christmas. You're more than welcome to. Merry Christmas, Ramsey. Ramsey, come on. Come on.
Yes, Ramsey,
come and say hello, Ramsey. We'd love to see you. Or anybody else for that matter. But you picked this up today?
I picked up what today?
This is the Frederic Malle Joyeux Noël candle.
I did pick this up today. I absolutely love it.
I'm going to light mine in honor of Christmas Eve.
In honor of Christmas Eve.
And I just finished telling Rich that this candle, it was one way or the other, and I can't remember if it was the candle that inspired Music for a While or if Music for a While had inspired this candle. But they're both that caramelly lavender. And I'm going to go put this far away from me.
I have just sent you a link to Pierre Bourdon's entire back catalogue. Oh, I don't know if you can hear us.
I do.
But Eugene is starting a fire in the house. That little ping there was me sending Eugene a link, and if he wants to open it and have a look, it will tell him all the perfumes made by Pierre Bourdon.
Yeah, I had a look before the stream.
Yeah, he did. I'll read some of them out, right? So he did Chorus, Green Irish Tweed, Cool Water, Dupe, Night Flight by Dupe, Fantasy by Lapidus, Féminité Dubois by Shiseido, Chorus Fraîcheur by Yves Saint Laurent, Dolce Vita by Christian Dior, Cool Water Woman. I haven't tried it either. He did Good Life by Davidoff. He did a lot of Davidoff fragrances. Esprit for My Peace, Individuel by Mont Blanc. He did the one for Creed, Original Santal, Sopranos Male, Cabaret for Men by Grey, Full Choke, Francesco Smalto, Ferrero de Parfum.
Yeah, buddies.
Yeah, buddy.
How you doing? Merry Christmas Eve.
Merry Christmas Eve, guys. Thanks for having me on again.
How you doing, mate?
I'm doing. It's good to be on with you, Duck. All of our chats back and forth. Good to be on a stream with you.
Yes, that's right. It is nice to talk to you. Me and Ramsey speak every day.
How's Christmas Eve going?
Say again?
How's Christmas Eve going? What do you have planned for today?
Oh, it's great. Just, Layla's 2 now, so, enjoy. Yeah, she's at that age. She's seen Santa a couple times and stuff like that, so it's good. It's a good day. We're gonna hang out with both my wife and my family, so it'll be a good day today and tomorrow, and food and no work. You know how it goes.
How long do you plan on keeping the Santa charade going for?
Oh, I have no idea. Probably till she figures it out on her own in a year or two. I think I figured it out pretty quick.
I remember when one of my guys were in grade school, and I got a call from the teacher saying, "Your son's going around telling all the other kids that Santa's not real."
Yes, that was me.
And I was like, "Well, okay, what do you want me to do about that? Like,
right?
Tell him that he is, you know, like there's nothing I can do. Right? You know, he is. Okay, so what? He's not lying.
That's it.
Right.
Here, let me show you guys my scent of the day.
Absolutely.
Please.
I showed this on my video today. I did a Chanel video. I've been enjoying those videos, by the way.
Yes, it's great, isn't it?
This is Escada Pour Homme. And this is long discontinued. This is a little 40 ml and made by Escada Beauty. But you know what this is like, Eugene? Since you're now picking up all these vintages, this is like Heritage.
Oh, no way.
This is like Heritage with cognac in it.
Right.
It's not like Creation E, where it's this heavy, hard cognac. It's a real soft cognac accord, but it came out 1 year after Heritage, and I am loving this because I love that scent DNA.
Yes, absolutely. I've not tried that, but I imagine it's as gorgeous as Heritage is.
Put it on the list. It's got a vanilla note in the base, so it's a little bit maybe a little bit more mass appealing, but I'm digging it. I think you would really like it.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah. I thought it was Louder for Men as well when I saw the bottle. Justin says it has that kind of shape to it.
I love Louder for Men. What a fragrance.
So what do you have planned for the holidays? You have some time off? You gonna go back to work? Gonna spend time with the family? What's up?
Today's my time off, and then right back at it Monday. I'm going for my CFP next year.
Okay.
And so that's a really big commitment because it's a 2-year course jammed into 1 year. So I'm just I'm going to enjoy now until next year starts and then hit the ground running.
Good for you.
Yeah, man.
Put in the work now so it pays off later.
Certified financial planner.
Big leagues.
I've been in the industry 15 years, but I never got the official license because it didn't matter. If you could sell, you could sell, kind of thing. And so, but now, our firm got bought. There's some things going on, so they're going to force me to go back to school after 15 years.
So are they going to teach you in school that it's not a good idea to dig into your savings to spend on perfume?
Yes, that's right. I'm not the guy to I'm not the guy to listen to on that front. I've spent some dough on, vintage fragrances these last few years, but to be quite honest, I don't feel like I would have the base of understanding about the fragrance world if I didn't go back and have all that experience from the older fragrances. Like yesterday, I wore Roja Dove's Parfum de la Nuit No. 3, which is my favorite of the 3. He has a 1, a 2, and a 3. And the 3 smells very much like this heavy cumin. And if you have never smelled Eau de Hermes before, you would smell PDLN No. 3 and go, "Oh my God, this is the greatest fragrance of all time. It's worth $1,400 a bottle." But because I've got the experience of what Eau de Hermes smells like, I said, "This is Roja's take on Eau de Hermes. It just is, Is it worth $1,400 a bottle? No, it's beautiful, but it's not $1,400 a bottle beautiful when you can just go get Eau de Hermes."
Yeah.
Well, at least Roja knows how to pick the winners that he's going to be inspired by.
Oh,
there are worse things to be inspired by.
Yeah. I mean, he's picking the biggest and the best, no doubt about it. And he's going for the biggest classics, and
Yeah,
so he knows his history for sure.
he has a respect for the classics.
Yeah. And it is nice. I mean, he does use high quality materials, but I enjoy wearing. I've got an old flacon of Eau de Hermes that's pretty. I think we've narrowed it down to being from the pewter cap era. I'll show it on camera when I do a Hermes family portrait one of these days. But I enjoy that more, to be honest with you. It's not as refined, but Rudnitska nailed it. I mean, that's the best cumin-based perfume ever, in my opinion. So,
yeah, he seems to be the master at that, right? One of the first, and Elena. It seems like Elena was his greatest student when it comes to that spicy accord.
yes.
Oh, and we have another master perfumer in the house. The next Rudnitska. Yura.
Hello.
Hello.
I should face today. I'm looking better.
It's
I've
good
got-
to
Hello.
see you.
Hey, Yura.
How are you guys?
Yura the
see
Grinch.
me?
Yes,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
do see
The
you.
Grinch.
What
I'm
is
not as
up?
moody as the Grinch. I'm good, thank you. I'm just at my desk at the moment, but yeah, it's good to have Merry Christmas to you guys.
Merry Christmas.
Merry
Thank
Christmas,
you so
mate.
much.
Yeah.
What's new in London? Or are you
London.
back
Ireland.
home?
Back in Ireland. That's why it's so
Ireland.
dark here.
Right.
It's quite late. So yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to a nice peaceful Christmas. I don't know if
What do
that
you have
actually
planned?
comes.
You gonna be with family?
I'm just with family now, so I'm looking forward to that. I finished my wrapping today and stuff like that, so I've got a couple of paper cuts, nothing too serious.
Nice reminder
So,
of Christmas.
yeah. The injuries you go through to the people you love, hey?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what makes it all worth it. You, Denby saying you streaming off a goddamn potato. A potato camera.
Yeah, it's the technology we have in Ireland is 10 years behind
Okay.
everyone else.
Denby, he's saving his money for oils, so it's gonna pay off, you know.
That rose to my.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, the vetiver and the sandalwoods. So what else? What are you wearing, Yura?
Something I made actually today.
All right, tell us about that.
It still needs to macerate. It was a fougere I tried to make with osmanthus, because osmanthus has got a nice sort of fruity quality to it, and it's quite animalic. And I wanted to make something animalic without adding anything animalic to it, if that makes sense. And it seems to be working out quite nicely. It does develop nicely. It starts off with caraway, clary sage, bergamot, French lavender, then goes into this sort of violet leaf, osmanthus, spicy heart, and then it really dries down into a nice amber, vanilla-y oak moss base with a bit of coumarin. So far, I'm pleased with it, but it still needs to macerate for 2 weeks.
Let it macerate.
And I'll see how good it is. Yeah.
All right, good.
Maceration.
Lovely.
It doesn't mean much to you guys because you can't smell it. But...
No, but was it inspired by anything? Like, where did you come up with this? Is it something you always wanted to create? Is it fougere? Or...
No, I made a fougere a while ago, and I got some osmanthus absolute, and I thought that might be nice inside it to give something to it, like just like a slight fruitiness without adding juniper berry or even. I haven't got any carnation. I use some geranium, but I think it does create a nice effect because osmanthus to me isn't too floral; it's more fruity and slightly animalic. To be honest with you, osmanthus is more animalic than jasmine to me. Funny enough, it's more indolic.
Right.
So it does give a slight dirtiness, but not in a way that it's shitty. But yeah, in a
it can
pleasant
get
way.
quite dry and pasty, right?
It can do, yeah. I mean, some people refer to it like a peach tea, and that might be the tea dryness that comes through.
Yeah.
And the things that you put it with as well. Yeah,
A
So,
leathery accord.
interesting.
It does have a leathery vibe to it.
Yeah.
it can do. Yeah.
Do you know,
You're
I
out,
was at the mall. I was sorry.
Go ahead, Duck.
I was just going to say I was at the Frederick Mall counter today, and some young lad came over with his dad, and his dad must have been early 60s, and he was like a gruff old man, and he was like, "Dad, like, can I just like put this on you?" And it was the night, and he put the night on his dad's arm, and his dad was like, "Oh my God, what is this? It's awful. How terrible is that?" The kid turned around and looked him dead in the eye and said, "That's a £1,000 perfume." The bloke nearly keeled over. It was awesome.
What are the chances that you were there to witness it, like to be in that place at that time?
Honestly, I wish I got it on camera.
Amazing.
I wish I got it on camera. I would have gone viral. The bloke nearly shit himself clean in the middle of the store. It was brilliant.
I got a decant of that coming Monday.
Oh yes, excellent.
10 ml. That'll last me a lifetime.
Absolutely. I've still got the little one Eugene sent us months ago. It's like one spray of that will cover you for about 4 months because it's so shitty. It's unbelievably shitty.
Yeah.
It smells
It
like
dries
the
down
countryside.
quite
It smells like the countryside when they've been spraying the fields.
That was my scent of the day last Christmas.
Oh, heavens above.
What a Christmas scent.
Yeah.
Magnifique.
I think they'll prefer cocoa this year.
Yeah,
Your
I will.
family.
I'm gonna wear cocoa and I look forward to it. But the night's pretty magnificent too, in its own way.
Do you work
Samir
with
still have it.
ouds? You're
Sorry?
do you work with ouds?
Not yet, no. It's expensive. I don't want to be working with really, really, really expensive ingredients unless I'm really comfortable with them. Otherwise, it's just a waste, you know. I'd love to work with ouds, but in different ways. I wouldn't want to do rose oud. I would love to do something with jasmine, maybe vanilla. I think vanilla and oud would be lovely because even like playing with different types of oud, because some ouds that use, not all ouds are skanky and animalic. You can get some really green ouds, and that might be interesting with some floral ingredients like a tuberose.
Lavender. I always thought lavender and oud would go quite well together.
Yeah. I mean, that'd be all that type of stuff really interests me, like the experimentation you can do with it. You know, definitely something I could be working towards in the future. But trying to source good oud for a good price without being ripped off is, you need to know people. And I'm starting to get to know some people that steer me in a good direction, because it's a dodgy business even still, you know. And I don't want to be buying shite for like 4 times the price it should be.
Have you looked into applying to some of the bigger flavoring houses or even smaller ones just to get your foot into the door and maybe you getting some of these materials for free or getting to use their materials as you're training?
Things do leak out. Like I remember Gabe mentioning Pierre having some captives. I met a perfumer in London when I was there 2 weeks ago, and he had a couple of IFF captives. And I don't know how he got them, but he said, you know, these things just, if you know someone who knows someone, they can pass them on. You know, they might get 10 mil and they'll give you 2 mil. And that's how it works. You know, I could probably get some even that stuff if I wanted to. But I wouldn't just get it for the sake of it. I mean, some of these materials, you don't really know what to do with them. That's the thing I heard that Christophe Laudemille was actually, I think he worked with IFF, and he was very well respected dealing with new molecules. He was a genius at creating accords of these new molecules. You'd smell them something completely different, and you'd build an accord and had that imagination. And I think Luca Turin said that he wasn't necessarily great at making perfumes themselves, but when it actually comes to creating accords of these new molecules, there was no one better than him in the world. So that in itself, smelling these new molecules and trying to figure out what to do with them is quite interesting. There's actually one I have got. I've been working on, got some in my drawer. I won't pronounce it, but it's isopropyl dimethyl diasporacadecane. And when you smell it, it smells like mint to me, mostly mint, like 90% mint, but there's like a parsley, rhubarbiness to it as well. And I was playing around with Palo Santo accords. I don't know if you've ever smelled Palo Santo. To me,
Yes.
it's quite a minty, yogurty. There's a mintiness to it, I find, when you smell it, especially fresh.
Fresh, slightly bracing
Yeah.
sort of thing about it.
Yeah, and
It was
it's
used
also
as an antiseptic, right?
yeah, it can be, and it's quite medicinal as well. So I was
Yeah.
trying to make a Palo Santo accord without using Palo Santo, and I have some Palo Santo. And I found, okay, well, if you can use some mint, like a mint essential oil absolutes, but the thing is they evaporate off quite soon. So if you used to put it into a perfume, you'd get the mintiness at the start and it'd be very strong, but then it would disappear. But you want something to stay in there. And I use this molecule, a very small amount, and it keeps that slight mintiness that you get in Palo Santo all the way throughout the perfume. And I thought that was a really interesting use of that molecule that I was trying to use it recently. And I added some Palo Santo, and it was I ended up getting some really interesting, nice results from it, and I might play around with that more because I've smelt a couple of Palo Santo perfumes, and they always end up being like milk cookie gourmands, and I don't find that too pleasant. And I want to make something that's a bit more incensey, medicinal, woody, that actually captures the essence of the wood. Yeah.
Are you self-taught, Euro? Did you go through? Did you go through the program?
I applied. I've been looking to, and I have applied to like Givaudan and stuff like that. But then it was actually talking to some perfumers. Some of them say it depends what you want to do. I can go through 3 years of perfumery school, work for a company, but you won't be. It depends on how you want to approach things. I always believe, like my background was a geologist, so I spent 3 years studying geology. Then I did a master's. And I know people who know more about geology who never studied geology. It's Palo Santo, who never studied. But I mean, I had one of the best conversations I had about geology was in a pub with a postman, and he was just talking to me, and he knew more things. I was like, "How does this know about all this stuff?" And he says, "Well, I just read." But I know people who got geology degrees and haven't got a bloody clue about geology. So sometimes I'm a strong believer that if you want to do something, you can do it. And I've got Jean-Claude Eleanor's book there, and what really I was thinking about all this, and I read to the back of it, and he says, "I am self-taught," and I found that quite interesting. And what he was saying there is, well, he wasn't. I mean, he had some sort of perfume education, but the point he's getting to, if you want to learn something, you have to dedicate time, you have to be humble, you have to spend time in the materials, study them. You have to pick people's brains and learn of people, and that's how you actually do learn. That's how you study. Getting a degree, in a sense, is just a piece of paper. It doesn't actually say that you've learned anything, which is important. So the route I would like to go down is I'm buying stuff, I'm studying it, building accords, I'm meeting as many perfumers as I can, trying to get as much opportunities as I can to keep on learning. So, yeah.
I didn't realize, I mean, I think I heard that, but I never really put much thought into it that Elena was a self-taught perfumer. But he did study in Graz, though, didn't he?
Yeah, for a bit. But it was very different then. You never had perfumery schools then either. Like even Christopher Sheldrake, you go to Graz and you'd work with another perfumer and they'll teach you a bit and stuff like that. And then you'd start working under them. And it was more like an apprenticeship thing. And
it was like the magic circle, wasn't it? It was like the magic circle. You had to find a way in. And then you went in and you were expected to keep your secrets and not like nobody could just apply and turn up.
Yeah, definitely. And the way I see it is I'm getting the same materials as most perfume students are getting. There is a lot of information out there to learn. I'm talking to perfumers all the time. I'm studying the material, spending hours and hours a day studying one material, taking notes of its longevity, what I'm smelling, building up a memory of what these materials smell like, and creating ideas, building accords. I mean, when you're starting off perfumery, accord building is one of the most important things to do. Once you're starting to learn the materials, because essentially accords are the main chunk of what make a perfume. So even like if you want to make a plum accord, like if you're thinking about Coco Chanel, that plum accord was important for the perfume, just that plum accord. So you need to know how to build that to put it into a perfume, if that makes sense. So you can't it's not just like I'm going to go and just throw a load of ingredients together and hope that comes out. There is a structure to these things.
How do you build how do you make a top, a middle, and a base? What defines a top, and what defines a middle, and what defines a base?
I know some perfumers who don't believe in the whole perfume pyramid. They say it's a lot of shite. I can kind of see it. It's just basically different ingredients. Like bergamot's not going to hang around forever, for instance. That's only going to be in the top and it's strong. That's actually one of the things I struggled with a lot, funny enough, is bergamot and how much to dose into perfume. Because sometimes I put in, I don't know, say if I'm making 2 grams of a perfume concentrate and I put 0.2 grams of bergamot, I couldn't smell it. I was like, where's it gone? I'm spraying it and it's not there. So you need to add more. Trying to balance that, it's pretty hard. Then obviously things like your ambery notes and stuff like that, you will get hints of them in the beginning, but they will just stay along, and once everything else has evaporated, that will still be there on your skin. It's mostly to do with how different materials evaporate and the times they evaporate. And trying to build that. But like the Palo Santo ones that I was working on, that is pretty linear because that's how it's built. I'm trying to build Palo Santo, if that makes sense. So it's not going to change. Like it starts off quite spicy. I mean, there's cumin in there in the beginning, cumin and ginger, which creates like this really dark incense. And then that sort of goes off and then it goes into a more milky, smoky Palo Santo. But it depends. If you build a perfume that way, it's going to stay linear, but that's to try and make it more realistic in the sense of smelling like Palo Santo. But like a sheep, if you used to make a sheep, then that's not going to be very linear because you've got loads of bergamot and it's going to disappear. And then you've got loads of oak moss in the base and you've got florals, and it will have that evolution in the perfume.
I'm burning Palo Santo incense right here, and there's a really nice sweetness to this.
Yeah. Do you get a milkiness, like a yogurtiness?
Yeah, slightly.
Yeah.
More than anything, it's like a nice woody sweetness.
Yeah.
It's just really nice, but we're trying to manifest Pierre Bourdon, so that's what we're doing. We're calling up his ghost here.
That was a great stream last time, by the way.
Last night?
When you had the guy on.
Sorry, I missed that.
When you had the ghost perfumer guy on, that was one of the best streams.
Yes.
That was amazing.
That was brilliant. I really enjoyed that, and the guy could talk, and all I wanted to do was listen and have him go on and on and on. You know, didn't take much, right? All you got to do is ask kind of like the right questions, and he opens up and just sit back and not interrupt, and he gives you what you want to hear. It's brilliant. I could have gone and listened to him for another 2 hours.
Yep. Hey, Euro, one more thing. You left a comment on one of the videos with Roja Dove. Sorry, I pinned it at the top that I did, but you had mentioned only doing a certain amount of like jasmine in each creation that you make, and these people think that they can use all this, jasmine because he talks about it being from grass. I think the people in the stream might like to hear you talk about the limits a bit because I found that real interesting.
Yeah. Well, how it works if say you can only use a certain amount, it's not like you can only use a certain amount of concentrate. It's in the whole of the perfume. So if you make 100 mil, it's like 0.6% of that 100 mil. So jasmine grandiflorium, which is the normal jasmine you're used to, I think it's 0.6%. So if I was to make 10 mil for a sample, let's say, that would equate to about 2 drops of jasmine, and you think 2 tiny drops of pure jasmine will go into that. Obviously, if you was to increase that to 100 mil, you'd times that by 10, so that's 20 drops, but that's still a very small amount. Obviously, most jasmine accords, you bulk it out with other things like your benzyl materials. But the thing is, like, you can say that you use all these amazing ingredients, but you can only use so much of them anyway. You can't use more than Roger can't use more than Frederick Malle, let's say. Even if he wanted to, if he says, I've got this amazing jasmine, he can't use more than all these other brands because it's legally impossible. So sometimes that's a bit bullshit. And also in terms of materials, like I think he says he uses he's the only person, one of 7 people can use Rose de Mai. And I said, you can buy it from Eden Botanicals in the US if you wanted to. And it's not, Rose de Mai Absolute is not that much more expensive than normal Rose Absolute. So yeah, there is a bit of like, let me just, I mean, it's all, a lot of it's all, he's a good salesman, let's say. And, but one thing I won't bash about Rogers perfumes is they are very well made, whoever makes them. Some of them are really lovely. They are good quality and they are very nicely blended. And, but I think there's a bit of exaggeration going on. But I think that's who he's trying to sell to, he's trying to sell to the luxury market.
Yeah.
Roja is always a hot topic here, and there's always that constant debate of, yes, he makes quality perfumes, but they're always inspired by, or people take it even further and call them clones. What's your take on that? Do you forgive the inspiration part due to the fact that they are very well made and they use a great source of materials? Like, is that forgivable to you, or
okay, well,
do you not care for the whole story?
Like, if a brand goes out and they just want to make like a clone of a perfume and sell it for cheaper, I don't like the whole idea of cloning, because I obviously was a geologist before and I was doing science and peer review, and it's been drilled into me not to plagiarize. You have to reference other people's work. You can't copy. Don't plagiarize. And when you step into the world of perfume and everyone's copying, you know what, you can get away with it. To me, it's a bit crazy. At the end of the day as well, one thing I need to sort of ground myself in is most fougères are a copy of Fougère Royale, because that started the genre. People aren't just going out there saying, I'm going to make a perfume. They're making a fougère on that basis of using bergamot, coumarin, lavender. They're copying that formula that was set down.
And they're just changing one or two main things.
Yeah, exactly. And like
the level of sweetness or resins or earthiness.
Yeah.
But it's all basically the same formula. And the same thing goes for Chypres or Orientals. You're just kind of, calibrating it differently.
Absolutely. And it's like people said Diaghilev's a clone of Mitsuko. You could say Mitsuko was a clone of Coty Chypre.
Right.
So, it's like that whole thing saying like, good artists copying, great artists steal, or something along the lines of that. But at the end of the day, unless you're making something really completely avant-garde, completely new, unique, it's pretty hard not to copy. Like I made a fougère, as I told you, I made a fougère and put some osmanthus in it and some other notes. I'm still making a fougère, if that makes sense. So is it a clone? Am I making a clone? Because it's in the same style of that fragrance. That's just how it is, But I think there is definitely a lot. I'm not too sure on the whole idea of clone brands making. Let's just make the same fragrance, because even though it's not a variation, we're trying to make the same fragrance. I think that's a bit dodgy and a bit wrong. And what's interesting is you talked about perfume school and big houses. The first thing they teach you to do more than anything is to use a GCMS. They teach you, okay, look, this is how you put fragrance into a machine and see what's in it. So you're almost expected to be able to copy. They almost teach you to copy from the get-go.
Is it like they want you to copy or maybe learn something?
Probably. Well, they could just teach you. They can just give you the formula. If you work for Giveon, they can give you the formula for many perfumes anyway. But it's like that's how they compete.
What about the competitor? Do they ever look at the competitor's formula and say, let's take this, let's take CK1, which is a smash hit, and make our own version? So
yeah, they run it through GCMS, and then they say, okay, what's in it? We're going to make our own. That seems to be working. And if someone wants to buy it, they buy it. It's been going on for a long time.
Yeah.
And they prepare their students for that, So, and I mean, not all students that go through the perfume schools go through that. Some leave and they want to start their own brands, which isn't always easy. And I can understand why some don't do that, because it's really good. If you're working, let's say if you went to Givaudan's perfume school, you get to work, you end up doing another 4 years with a master perfumer, and you obviously will learn a lot from them. If you're like working under, say, Jan Vanier at Givaudan or something like that, you're going to learn a lot from him in 4 years if he's a good teacher. So they usually take that route as well. So, but I tell you, the lucky ones were Julien Raquinet and Jean-Christophe Hérault to be students of Bourdon. I'm kind of jealous, to be honest with you. I wish.
Well, you know, you're still a young lad. Maybe you can find a mentor to apprentice under. It's never too late.
Turn up to Bourdon's castle tomorrow.
Yeah, or maybe hook up with Rasquinet or Hérault and study from them.
Yeah,
you know,
Come back and make a fragrance for Eugene.
Yeah, you never know. You never know. Never know. Or for you, Ramsey, for that matter.
Oh, that's another life, man.
Or maybe just for himself. Maybe we don't know what his plans are.
I'm trying to catch up with the comments here as well.
So what do you think? Like, by saying that every you know, fougere is a copy of Fougere Royale or inspired by, do you think that there's anything new that can be created, or is everything just going to be redundant going on out?
Yeah, well, the thing is, like, for instance, Green Irish Tweed cool water type thing we talk about Bourdon was new because he used dihydromercenol. He used one new molecule and he created a whole new genre out of it. That's what the interesting thing about these, and I think a lot of perfumers do get excited by new molecules because you can try and make something new. You can get inspired, and from that you can say, because he's obviously smart dihydromercenol, thought, well, that's very fresh, watery, and clean. Then went with the idea of the aquatic. So, you know, it's quite interesting that you can get one molecule and you can sort of just create a whole genre from it. I mean, fougères come primarily from coumarin. You know, the idea of orientals came from vanillin. So when a good molecule, a new synthetic comes along, they can sort of that can be an inspiration in itself to start off a whole new genre, or opens up doors to make new aromas. So I reckon in the future there could be new styles of perfumes coming from new materials, 100%. And there always been ones being found, and there's some that are captive now that we haven't smelt. Like I remember saying that I think the future perfumery in the next couple of years will be more like Hermes H24, Ganymede, that type of thing.
Or
and that's
chemical
because
compounds.
Well, it's interesting because the H24 is using that. It's not really a new compound because I think Alberto Marias was a fan of it and even using CK1. Habanolide, which is that hot iron musk. It smells like a bit of hot iron, and I think she used some other musks in there as well to give that effect. But that hot iron effect could be the start of a new genre. People might, you know, they might be copying that if it's a success, and you're getting all these like hot iron linen perfumes coming out now. That could be a whole new genre of perfume. Who knows? You know.
But that's been been done or being done recently. It's not the first time somebody's done a hot iron perfume.
Yeah.
Sartorial
had it, didn't it?
Umbrox and Accord.
Yeah.
But all right, let me ask you this. If you can go back from the beginning of time and mentor under any perfumer of your choice, who would you like for it to be? Who would you like to study under?
Olivier Creed.
If you could choose anybody.
Not Pierre Montel, anyway. That's a tough one because I'm also trying to think of like who would I actually like to interact with as well. Because learning from someone, actually spending time with someone, is two different things as well. I kind of like the idea of how, I remember Gabe saying how Pierre Bourdon was making his students read and do other things outside, like that Mr. Miyagi type thing. I kind of like that because I can actually see, because I'm a strong, even when it comes to things, I like to learn how to adjust your mindset towards things. Like people, like when it comes to cooking, for example, you can either follow a recipe or you can learn. So I can, if I want to learn how to cook Indian food, I can follow loads of Indian food recipes, or you can learn how does an Indian person like to cook. And that in itself is two different ways to approach things. And I think Pierre Bourdon's in the same way, is it's almost like condition your mind to be, so you can absorb information in a different way. so you can be a better perfumer.
In the book, right? The reason given for making Hero read Proust was that the Proust that he made him read was about why artists create. And it was a 12 volume thick book set. And it took him 18 months to read it. And at the end of it, he sort of got it. Do you know what I mean? Like why artists have to create, like what about artists makes them want to create, and why artists should create. And that's, I think, what you're getting at there, to try and give you a different perspective, a different insight into why, like sort of the same principle as give a man a fish and he'll eat for a day, but if you teach him how to fish, he'll eat for a lifetime, sort of thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like teaching people how to think.
Yeah, 100%. Because you can. Some teachers make you a clone of themselves, and is that really a good thing? Because you can't express yourself. Whereas I think what I liked about Bourdon when he was saying that, he's almost setting you up to be the best of yourself, so you can channel your creativity, which I think is very important. I think is the best way to teach. But yeah, no, I think I might say Bourdon if you was to say, because he's not because I necessarily think his work's my favorite, but I think as someone who's a teacher, I think I could really, and he seems like quite a quiet guy, and I think I'd get along with someone who's quite discreet and quiet, and we can get along with the business instead of being, because I remember I've had supervisors in the past. One was an absolute lunatic, and I didn't get along happy with doing that. And one was actually it was almost what I'd imagined Bourdon was like, and I really enjoyed learning under him, which is important. Another thing people say, like, I've given up a lot to do this, but the reason why I'm doing it is because I really love perfume, and I actually had the opportunity to do a funded PhD before I did this, and I turned it down to do this, mainly because I said, what do I really, really, really want to do the rest of my life? You know, I'm 26. Where do I want to take it? And I said, I want to pursue perfume. And I think part of me has always been wanting to be more creative anyway. And I don't want to set out to be different. I think if you go out, you want to be different, you're not actually still expressing yourself. You just need to be yourself, and however that way it expresses, that is the most sincere thing you can do. And that's what I want to do. I know people say, I don't want to be like them, or I don't want to be like the masses. I don't know how I'm going to be, but I just want to be who I am, if that makes sense. And however that's received, that's going to be received. What can I do? So,
do you find inspiration when you're creating from anywhere specifically, or like how do you go about looking for inspiration?
It comes in different ways. Like sometimes I could be walking around. I learned the other day that hedione naturally occurs in green tea. And I thought, okay, that's really interesting. I might try and make something with a green tea accord and see if I can get some jasmine in there, hedione. Just them sort of little ideas that are coming in. It's just little things like that can spark some interest. Like, as I said, the one I was talking about, the Palo Santo accord, I got some Palo Santo, I was burning it. And I noticed a mintiness, and I said, well, mint won't work. And then I had this molecule here, and I thought, okay, that's interesting. And I put that in, and I've built as Palo Santo, something that smells really like Palo Santo in a really good way. So it can come in different ways. Sometimes it takes more thought. I can think of, do I want to recreate something from the past? Like I was trying to make the smell of it. We keep mentioning church. I actually made one here. To me, I don't think this would suit as being a perfume. It would probably suit more as a candle, but it literally smells like a damp church, like nothing else. And I don't think people would want to smell like a damp church, but that's okay. But yeah, I'm not selective of where my inspiration will come from. I'm just going to let it come as it comes, to be honest with you, no matter how it comes.
I'd actually love the smell of a damp church, or any kind of church for that matter. It's one of my favorite smells. And there's so many things you could do with a church accord.
I sprayed it, and the opening, someone said it smells like marijuana. I don't know how that come about, but that wasn't intentional. A
I've
naughty
never
priest
smelled
and
an
a naughty
accurate
church.
marijuana. No, I've never smelled an accurate marijuana. No, ever. It just doesn't occur. They all smell green and a little bit tangy and a little bit like wormwood.
Yeah.
Mm. You talking about the Acro ones that you tried recently?
Yeah,
Haze.
that Afro one was bonkers. Yeah, it's crazy. That one in particular, the Haze one in particular, was crazy. I didn't know what was going on. But the other ones were quite good. They were almost too good. I was really interested in the dark one, the dark chocolate one. But I don't know if I want to smell highly accurately like chocolate. You know,
Yeah.
like as if I literally smell like chocolate, you know, not like the effect of chocolate or like some chocolate, but like actual chocolate. Like they've got the weakness of their strength. Acro, they're very, very, very photorealistic.
That's a hard thing to do. Yeah,
yes.
that's a really hard thing to do because like there's a sort of balancing act when you're making like candles are different. Like if them acros and candles, they might be really good because your room would smell like chocolate and you think brilliant. But to make a perfume, at the end of the day, you want to have something, you want to tell a story with your perfume, but also it has to be kind of wearable. Like you can't just like, as I said, this church one up. Will people really just want to sell like a straight dead, damp church? Probably not. There might be some people out there like that sort of thing. But would it suit being a candle, you know, to create the ambience in a room or something?
Yeah.
So it's pretty. That's a pretty hard thing to do as well when you're creating. Is like, okay, I've got this idea. This smells like this, but is it a perfume? Because that's a completely separate, different thing as well.
If y'all can go back and take the existence away from any trend, which one would it be? Which trend would you take out of its misery?
Aventus.
The Aventus trend, the pineapple, the smoky birch pineapple?
Probably not actually. No, it'll probably be the blue one. I'm sick of it now. I'm over it hugely. I'm so over blue fragrances. It's untrue. Absolutely sick to the hind teeth of them.
Do you think blue? Would you get rid of blue before aquatics?
Yes.
I agree. I'm more bothered by the blue, by the syrupy blue perfumes than the fresh, watery aquatics.
Yeah, Rudy said amber woods as well, and he's got a massive point there as well. I am utterly sick of that.
Jeremy says influencers. I meant perfume, but yes, good point, Jeremy. Yes, absolutely. What's up, J-Bone?
I'm not too keen on gourmands, and especially not the type of. I don't mind vanilla-y gourmands, but the ethyl malto ones, like from Angel forwards.
Angel, yeah, black opium.
If they didn't exist, I wouldn't be crying. Let's put it that way.
Well,
you like Amen?
Nah, not really. To be honest with you.
As much as I'm not a fan of all those sweet sugary bombs, I think ethyl maltol definitely has its place, and they've made a lot of successful perfumes going from Angel and Coco Mademoiselle, and even one of my favorites, Music for a While.
Yes.
I don't know if I'd get rid of ethyl maltol or that aspect of gourmands. I'm not a fan of gourmands in general, but I don't mind ethyl maltol in doses.
I think Music for a While is Carlos Benaim's best work, up there with Polo Green. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Love it. I mean, to make Polo Green and then to make Music for a While, what a career.
Well, that's creativity. You can't keep vibrating the same theme. You know, you need to branch out, and that's why you need to find creativity in different places in your life, because they are such a huge contrast to each other. They're so completely different.
Yeah, and they're like 35 years apart or something.
Both beautiful in their own way.
Then Denby should come on the stream and argue with me about Angel, because I think he's quite upset that I said we should get rid of Angel.
I must admit, I do like Amen.
Yeah,
let's get Denby on here. Maybe we won't. Maybe we won't be able to get Bourdon, but maybe Denby can come on and say hello.
I mean, people ask me like, people
unless
expect
he's chicken, of course. Are you chicken, Denby? We'll taunt him for a bit. Everybody taunt Denby.
Come on, Denby.
So you say gourmands. Ramsey, what did you say?
I agree with Duck, I think. I mean, most blue fragrances I don't like, but I did mention that I do really like, the only blue fragrance I own is the Parfum of Dior Sauvage. Because I like that olibanum and elemi note that Demachi kind of worked with, which he also used that elemi note, I feel like, again in the reformulation of Eau Sauvage Parfum when they took the myrrh out. So he knows how to, I feel like he did a pretty good job with the myrrh, elemi, accord. You were saying that the musks in Sauvage are actually pretty expensive. I didn't know that.
Yeah, muscanone. I don't know which one it is, but I think it's about 10% muscanone, which is crazy amount of that musk.
That's interesting.
I can't see many. But the thing is, they're Dior. They can afford to put that amount in. Like smaller niche houses wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
But I don't know if people would notice it. Let's say, but it is a lovely musk. It's my favorite musk actually. It's actually strong. Like some musks, when I first ever smelled like musks, when I first ever got them, I thought I was completely anosmic to most of them because they're so you're expecting like a smell, and then you're like you can't smell anything. But they come as you study them more. They start to open up. But muscanone, I had no problem. That was really strong at first, and it is for most people as well. The only way to describe it, it's kind of like skin, but in a nice way. So it's like if you ever smell someone who's had perfume on all day and they've come back and it's just suddenly, it's faded away, but you can smell the skin in a nice way. That's what that musk sort of reminds me of. It's quite sensual, warm. I think it's a really lovely musk. I won't trash. I mean, I don't own blue fragrances because it's not my genre. I'm not really moved by them. They don't excite me that much. I won't trash some of them because, like, even Sauvage, for Demachi to make that it still took skill. Like, it wasn't just like you put things together. I mean, I'd struggle to make Sauvage if I never had a GCMS, for example. It'd be really hard. So I have to respect that from a technical point, if that makes sense. But personally, no, I'm not really a fan of it.
Have you dipped into any vintages lately?
No, I haven't dipped in. I mean, Rich might be changing that.
Yes.
But I'd love to smell some vintages. Yeah, I'd love to smell some vintages.
I've got some vintage stuff for you. I'm wearing Balenciaga Pour On today, and I made the egregious error of reapplying. And it gave me a headache. I put on about 4 or 5 sprays this morning, and then I couldn't smell it for a while after I got back. I went out shopping. I came back in and I was changing my t-shirt, and I was like, oh, I'll just put another couple of sprays on, and what an absolutely horrific error that was. It went absolutely mental. All 5 sprays came back out, plus the 2 that I'd put on, and probably another fucking 3 or 4 from absolutely nowhere. Do you know what I mean? I was in a bad way. I was in a bad way for an hour there. Shan't be making that mistake again.
Yeah,
a massive perfume it is.
I made that mistake with the first time I ever tried Interlude Man from Amouage. I think I put on 9 sprays.
Wow.
And yeah. I was out all day. I think I went to an IKEA that day as well. And I come back and I was getting this really bad headache. I was like, what is causing this headache? And I could smell it on me, and I was just feeling sick. I had a shower and I could not get that stuff off me. Because that is packed full of woody ambers. I can tell you that now.
Yeah.
I like
There's no-
interlude, but it for me it has a certain energy, and whenever I've noticed this behavior, this pattern that whenever I wear it, I always end up in this really angry and aggressive state, and it's just way too consistent to be anything else. It was always interlude that I was wearing, and I don't know if anyone else has experienced that, but for me, it's a very heavy energy, and I don't know. I feel like I'm in a pissed off mood whenever I wear it.
Thomas is in the chat.
Come on in, Thomas. You have the link.
Yes. Come on in, Thomas. Please come on in. I haven't heard Thomas's voice for so long. Thomas should be doing some videos. Everyone should tell him.
Maybe Thomas
Red
knows
lessons.
where Pierre Bourdon is.
Maybe Thomas is Pierre Bourdon. That wouldn't surprise us. Apparently, Red Lessons was 36 sprays of interlude. He has a video of it. Yikes!
What?
Mental.
Red Lessons wore 36 sprays of interlude. He has a video of it.
Yeah. All right. So
he
Blackbird says I get in a bad mood with ombre leather. Are there any perfumes that make you guys irritant or in a bad mood or angry? I mean, perfumes do usually kind of they dig into some sort of emotion for a lot of us. Any of them affect you in a negative way?
Probably Polo Green.
What?
It's so dry. It's so dry. I really struggle with the opening of Polo Green. It makes us feel as though I'm choking a little bit. And then it sort of like chills out a bit. But the beginning always makes us feel so dry that it feels as though like I'm drying out. Like my throat starts to dry out a little bit. My skin feels like it's drying out. I'll tell you something else that sort of makes us feel a bit weird, but it's for a totally different reason. Vintage Quorum makes us feel a bit weird because I'm sure there's so much oat moss in it that I have a reaction to it, and I get like an itchy chest or like an itchy neck, and that seems to make us come out with a little bit of a rash, but I take like an antihistamine and it feels better.
Do you think it's from all the naturals in there?
I think it's from the sheer volume of oat moss. I'm pretty sure it's 65% oat moss. Might even be more. It could just be from the absolutely outrageous bottle, which looks like a brutalist architecture structure.
I thought you had oat moss running through your veins by all the sheepras that you wear.
I know, but I mean, Quorum is an extremely oak moss centric perfume.
You're practically an oak tree, Rich, now with all this oak moss.
I am practically. I've got some moss growing on my limbs. That might be it. But Polo Green. I'll tell you the first time I ever smelled Polo Green, I really disliked it. The first time I smelled it. I've had it for a couple of years, the vintage one. And that's Audrey Jane, isn't it?
It's Audrey Jane. Say hello, Audrey Jane.
Audrey, hello.
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 This is Audrey from Birmingham.
The butter in my fridge has just instantly melted.
Carry on. You're in a story. Go on.
Oh, it was just I've changed my opinion of Polo Green. I'm much more accepting of it now.
Yes, you backed it up.
I think it's. Sorry, yeah, I even backed it up. Yeah, I buy it because it's a cultural icon. Do you know what I mean? There are some perfumes that you've got to spend a lot of time with to get your head around them, because they're not simple. Especially with vintage perfumes, they're not straightforward. They're not simple. They're not instant gratification. You know, there's some things you've got to work at them. You know, it's like a relationship. You've got to work at it, and you've got to keep working at it.
You got to understand.
It doesn't just exactly. And Polo Green's one of those fragrances that so many people have talked about in glowing terms, people whose like opinion I respect, and that I've given it more grace than I would have ever given any other perfume. Much more, and I have come to terms with it a lot more. It's the dryness of the pine, and that sort of because it's tobacco leaf. It's not tobacco. It's tobacco leaf.
I love it.
And
Yeah.
it's got that sort of exactly. It's like I respect it more than I like it. I'm still coming to terms with it. I want to wear it in the high heat. I want to see what it does in the high heat before I get like a.
I know
Sorry?
even the modern stuff gets absolutely annihilated on base notes, but I still think even the modern stuff is great compared to what else is out there. I would wear the modern over stuff like the blue trendy perfumes any day.
Yeah.
I love what this does. It's just so green and earthy and leathery and smoky, resinous. It just feels like classic masculine aftershave.
Yes. It's have you ever smelled Lagerfeld cologne?
I'm not familiar with it, no.
Oh,
I
put
think
that
you'd
on the
really-
list,
yeah.
Eugene.
Yeah, you'd love that. Ramsey got me onto that as well, and it was it really is quite fantastic.
I just never know which Lagerfeld to get.
I'll send you a link to it.
Yara,
Lagerfeld.
hello, Yara. Polo
Yara.
destroys Kuros. Ooh, they're very
Ooh,
close.
no.
I don't know if one absolutely destroys another. I think they're very comparable.
Remember, that's Carlos Benaim's like, is it Carlos Benaim?
It is.
Like, like I mean, like Ramsey was saying before, you look at the two bookends of his career, and it's madness how he's gone from like music for a while. He's gone from Polo Green to music for a while. How the same perfumer can come up with those two perfumes?
Well, how does
even
the
though
same
it's like
perfumer
40 years
come up
apart?
with Kuros and Cool Water, like completely different?
Exactly.
As well.
Exactly. It's like that sort
And that's
of
the beauty, and that's
duality.
that's the beauty of a creative mind, is being able to do one thing and forget about that and flip over 180 degrees and go a completely different way.
Totally agree.
That's what an artist is.
Yes, they can do things that you would sit there and say, well, that's easy to do, and it would be like, I could do that, but the point is that you didn't. You know what I mean? That was one of the great lessons I ever learned about like, what separates people who achieve things and people who don't achieve things, is that yes, you could have done it, but you didn't do it, and they did. And it's like, and it's literally as simple as that. Like, creative people are people who do things, and uncreative people are people who don't do things.
Yeah. A simple thought, but absolutely true.
Yeah, quite profound, I thought that.
You know what does it for me is sandalwood's usually a really like meditative note for me, but that vintage Samsara that I bought, the EDP, man, it hits me right here. I struggle with wearing that. It's beautiful. It's probably the jasmine. But that vintage EDP Samsara puts me in a just foul mood. I can appreciate the beauty for what it is. It's just not my thing. I'm glad to have it because I wanted it because of the real Mysore sandalwood it was supposedly had in the vintage. But yeah, that's a tough one for me, man.
I've got that. I'd much prefer the EDP to the EDT. The EDT is very hard for me to wear. The EDP is lovely, but it is floral.
Yes.
It's yellow florals rather than white florals.
I tried cocoa actually the other day. I was talking to Audrey about this just to try it.
All right.
And I love that perfume, but I can't see me wearing it, to be honest with you. I just felt like I should be in like, I felt like I should be in like the Golden Girls or something like. It just, I don't know. I felt a bit confused wearing it. I was like, I just couldn't get my head around it. But I do love the perfume, and I think that's why I tried it. But I think it's one of those, I might give it another couple of shots just to see how I feel about it, you know?
So what do you mean by Golden Girls?
I just felt like I was like, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if I looked down, I was wearing a pair of high heels or something like that. It was it was messing with my mind. I don't know if it's my associations, because obviously my mother wears it, and I think that it might creep me out a bit more. But,
Okay, I can understand that. Yeah.
No, I respect the perfume. I think it's a lovely perfume. Actually, I spray it quite often, just as a bit of inspiration. There's a couple of perfumes I spray that I will smell to almost reset my nose to think, okay, that's good.
I don't see it as feminine or old, and when I wear it, I just look at it as a piece of art. And that's kind of what separates it from being outdated, is enjoying the art aspect of it.
You know what I wore to bed the other night that was absolutely blew me away was a vintage parfum version of Joy that I got from Manouche. And that is a lovely tuberose. And I don't like tuberose, but I could really appreciate that. That is a gorgeous fragrance. I'd love to smell that on a woman.
What about a man? Would you like to smell it on a man?
I would wear it. You know what it reminded me of? At first blast, it reminded me of Goldman.
Okay.
From Amouage.
Has it got that hairspray vibe then? Like that sort of musky?
A little bit, but there's some dirtiness. And, you know, there's some dirtiness from Civet and Goldman, but there's some dirtiness and Joy from the Floral Accord is what it feels like to me. But it's huge. I only got a 7.5 ml from, from Manouche, like a little pocket spray. Lovely. I can't believe more people don't talk about that. If you don't have that, Eugene, I think you'd really like that. That's right up your alley.
Yeah, I think I would too. What do you guys all think is like the perfect Christmas Day scent? The scent that most signifies Christmas.
I'm wearing Vanille Havane tomorrow. I think that's quite fitting.
Why?
I mean, I bought that like 2 months ago, but I've sort of almost been waiting to wear it for Christmas. I think that would be lovely because it's just such a nice, warm, cozy scent to me.
Right.
And I get a slight booziness from it, which reminds me of Christmas. Yeah.
Do you think it's like the bona fide Christmas Day scent?
No, I think it's subjective. I mean, I'm sure if you're in Australia or something, like a nice citrus cologne might be Christmassy or something.
Okay.
It's summer down there for them.
I usually wear Araby by Serge Lutens on Christmas Day, but I think I'm going to change it for Fila Nagil tomorrow.
What about everybody in the chat? Let us know what your bona fide Christmas Day scent is.
Absolutely love Fila Nagil.
Fianagui?
Fianagui. Aguil.
What does it smell like exactly?
I usually wear Burberry London.
Okay.
But I think I'm going to wear Happy Rouge tomorrow.
Oh, interesting. How did you come to that?
I don't know. It just hit me. It feels like such a cozy family. Like I'm just so comfortable in it. You know what I mean? Like that accord just fits me like a glove. And I just I always feel like when you wear a fragrance on a holiday, when you smell it, you always are reminded of that time, and that's like a good memory fragrance to me. So I think I'm going to wear the vintage Happy Rouge I bought.
All right, Audrey Jane's mic is not working, so she'll be back. For me, I think Cocoa and I've said this before 100 times, it's the perfect Christmas Day scent because of the spices and the woods accord, the nice rose patchouli. But I don't know, it's like that clove and the clove aspect, the cinnamon really remind me of Christmas. And it's a big, bold perfume. Another one is Frederic Maule's Noir Peace. That reminds me of Christmas. And it's got that Old Spice accord as well, that chai latte, the ginger, cinnamon, nutmeg, pepper, clove. It's just like the spices go on and on and on and on. And it smells like maybe a house that's been baking cookies all day, maybe.
Hello.
Has that been reformulated?
I don't know. Hi, Audrey.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Hello.
Hey,
Hello. How are you?
I'm having audio issues.
Oh,
Well,
no.
you sound perfect.
Thank you. I think tomorrow I'm gonna wear. It's a
What is it?
toss-up. It's a choice between two. I've spoken to the duck about it. So I've got my Fracco one or my Rocha one.
Ooh.
So I don't know which one.
Yaroshas, Fracas.
Because they're both, yeah, because they're both, like, I've never sprayed them ever. So they're going to be completely off the cuff.
Okay. What was the first one?
My Fracco one.
What was the
Vintage
second one?
Fracas.
Mm-hmm.
What was the second one? Fracas and
Sound like she said Rochas.
My Femme Rocha one.
Rochas Femme.
Sorry. I like the
Say it
Femme.
slower.
I've got a bottle of a 50ml bottle of the Eau de Parfum of the Femme Rochas, and it's really nice. That smells quite
Do you
Christmassy.
think that one Christmas Day then?
It's got Christmassy vibes. It's got like a peach, and it's got like a plum. It's got like fruity, thick, syrupy, warm, iris powdery sort of vibe going on. It's really nice.
Because I have got that Nahima, but I don't, based on research, I don't think that for Christmas Day, really.
It's powdery rose.
I feel like the other one would be better.
Yeah.
What other
Yeah.
smells remind you all of Christmas outside of perfume? Somebody said pine.
Sweet mints.
Cinnamon.
Cinnamon,
Baileys.
yes. Roasted chestnuts. Baileys, yeah. Ferrero Rocher.
Sweet mints. You know sweet mints? Like
Is
that
that
they put in mince
after
pies.
8?
No, I mean like mince as in MINCE, as in like, you know, the mince that they put in mince pies.
Yeah, mince meat.
That's right, yeah. With like the raisins and like all of that sort of thing. And yeah, that smells like Christmas.
I once put a mince pie in the microwave with
Oh,
tinfoil
no.
around it, and the house nearly blew up.
How about gingerbread?
Gingerbread.
We're at Baptême de Feu.
Oh,
I sang
Baptême
them
de
from
Feu.
my mom's house last night.
That's
like in the
That's
middle
got
of
a gingerbread.
I like gingerbread, but it's also got the smell of like steam and hot
Yes.
metal, as if you're ironing a gingerbread man.
I really like gingerbread.
Oh yeah, I like the gingerbread.
Audrey's playing hard to get.
Should keep disappearing.
Yeah, Audrey, are you playing hard to get?
Always. I'm here. It's just the
Always.
dodgy.
Can you say always again?
I think literally my Wi-Fi is trying to help yours because it's so bad. It's trying to help out that Windows 95 webcam.
That's right.
I was talking about this like a few days ago. Do you remember on those computers, the screensavers that would like move and bounce, and there was like different shapes?
Yes. And like the little window would move around and had like different colours and you could
Turn the
paint.
light on.
Yeah, and you'd want it always to get in the corner, but it never got in the corner, and you'd have to wait a while.
Can
Yes.
you see me more?
Yeah, we can see. You look great.
Thank you. I'm very stylish today. I'm beating Roger here, basically. Yeah, you haven't seen my
with
Louboutin
Roger?
slippers. Yeah, you haven't seen my Louboutin slippers either.
Oh, let's see.
No, I haven't got any. I couldn't afford those now. I might hire him as my PR man. I might be able to in the future.
You're a city boy now. You can't be a rural boy anymore.
What was this aftershave that Macaulay Culkin put on?
What, in
Does
Home
anybody
Alone?
know? Is it known the aftershave Macaulay Culkin splashed on in Home Alone?
I've got no idea.
Brute.
Sounds like a quiz question. Perfume addicts. Sounds like a proper outrageous quiz question.
It's brute.
She should do asthma videos. She'll make tons of money on YouTube. Well, there you go, Audrey. If you ever want to quit your day job, you can always do asthma. Maybe you could do like
I thought you meant asthma, like when you have like respiratory problems.
You can do like ASMR unboxings.
And asthma ASMR, just like spraying it.
I thought you said asthma, and I was like, "What? I don't have an inhaler."
No inhaler. Oh.
I haven't watched any Christmas films this year yet.
Why is that? Does it feel like Christmas at all? Because it doesn't over here. It's not snowy. We won't have any snow for Christmas.
There's not really been like a build-up, has there? Really?
Do you think it's kind of like the culture of our times right now because of what's going on? Has that taken away from the feeling of Christmas?
It feels
I think
like
the fact that no, go on.
No, go on.
No, I was just gonna say I think it's everything's been so stop and start. Everything's been so up in the air, and everything's been so sort of like disjointed that it hasn't really been feeling much like Christmas.
I had to turn around the other day, and I was writing the date and title on the board, and I had to ask the kids what year it was. I was like, what year are we in, guys? I said, I'm completely lost now.
Oh,
I was nearly writing like
someone
1999 on the board.
Someone was saying, like, it's like 2022 next year. It's going to be like 2022. Like the gap, it's like a repeat of 2020. Like I don't know where 2021 went, to be honest with you. Like that's just been these last 2 years. Have just been like it's been crazy.
Because we have had a lockdown, haven't we? This year we've had a big one. Have we had one or two?
Yeah, 2, 1.
We had a big one, didn't we? Like, wasn't it like Christmas to spring, like Easter?
Yeah, and then there was the ones previous.
Every single perfume that because I got into it during lockdown. I think every single perfume I've purchased has been a blind buy. Every single one.
Have you had any that you don't like? Like
no, not really. No, some of them are quite similar though. I've definitely got a taste.
Yeah.
Some of the ones that you look, there's a clear difference with the fragrances that you send me. Like, I'm not to that standard yet.
Right.
Like the ones that I've got are quite, I'd probably say quite classics. You can't really go wrong with them. Whereas you've sent me quite like a lot of like leathers and a few vintages that they're way above me at the minute. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not at that stage yet. I haven't trained my nose, I don't think, to truly appreciate them. A lot of them I've got upstairs, and I'm just waiting for the right time, really.
Yeah. Just keep
What are y'all
trying
looking
different
forward
things.
to next year? What are you looking to change? What are you looking for different? What are you hoping for?
I'm
I'm hoping
hoping.
to be able to go back to work again, because this is actually my office for the last 20 months or so. So, you know, for the last 2 years, there's no getting up and driving to work anymore. I just walk over here and sit down and talk on the phone with clients. And it's just kind of, that's one of the reasons why I think I got so much heavier into perfume, is because I'm kind of, you know, secluded in the house during the week, especially because I wake up, I work from like 8 to 5 or 6 in the evening, and it's not like I get in the car and go to work. Like, I just walk to the office, sit down, start working. So being able to break down my fragrances all day is something that it's become something that's kind of like, you know, give me something to do throughout the day, like keep my mind busy while I'm stuck in the house, kind of thing. So we're supposed to go back to the office next month, which they said we were supposed to go back 6 or 7 months ago, and then they pushed it back. And now, you know, I'm worried they're going to push it back again, to be honest with you. But I'm looking forward to being able to just drive and get in the car and drive to work again, you know, get a normal life back.
So it was because of the lockdown that had actually sucked you down the perfume rabbit hole?
Well, I mean, a lot of the stuff I had owned for a long time, the Creeds, the Amouages, but getting into the vintage rabbit hole, it's heavily over the last couple of years, yeah.
All right. So there are some perks for you of the whole lockdown. I mean, you were able to find something that you love and you're passionate about.
Exactly.
Or just kind of expand on something that you've already loved from before.
Yeah, even going to work. I mean, when I was going to work before, I was the perfume guy. You know what I mean? Like, they knew, but I had maybe 100 or 200 bottles versus 600 bottles. You know what I mean? Like, I went real heavy into it the last couple of years.
400 bottles in the last 2 years?
Probably 300-400. Yeah. And that's why my New Year's resolution is I'm buying more decants, and because there's only so much you can wear, you know what I mean? Like, you know that when you have a big collection, you want to wear as much as you can. And I only allow myself to basically wear one fragrance a day. At night now, I'm starting to kind of put stuff on before bed just to kind of wear more of it. But I don't do a fragrance of the day and a fragrance of the night. I just do one, kind of like Duck. So.
Right. Okay. Anyone else? What are you looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to Francis Cook John releasing a masterpiece of Dior next year. I'm only joking.
All right. Do you think that's possible?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You could do it.
It is possible, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but what about for yourself personally? What are you looking for personally? What change do you want to see next year?
I want to obviously continue learning with the perfume thing, and just I'm looking forward to the future, really, to see, you know, people I can meet, opportunities with this thing, because really now this is my life. You know, I wake up in the morning and all I think about is perfume, and I go to bed and I'm dreaming about perfume. But I love it. I absolutely love it. So
what does a perfume dream consist of, Yura?
To be honest with you, I spoke to one lady, and she reckons she dreams perfumes, and she can smell them in her dream, and then she wakes up. I don't think I can do that. I've never experienced that. But yeah, I had a nightmare actually involving Khalees Becker. You know, I remember going up to her. I was like, "Oh, I want to be a perfumer or something." This was a couple of years ago, and she turned around to me. She says, "No, get a real job." I was so distraught in that dream, but yeah, no. But the beautiful thing is when you're doing something you love, is you can meet nice people, and I've already met some really lovely people and some, you know, lifelong friends through this, and I'm looking forward to that, you know, next year.
Lovely. Anyone else? Rich, Audrey?
I'm not sure.
Are you going to read a couple more books?
A book. A book.
The book? Oh, that was a bit
book.
scarce.
A bit scarce. A scarce too. I don't know.
What I think, didn't you say that you were going to have more of a, not like a refined collection, Duck, but didn't you say you wanted to kind of...
I find it cute that she calls him Duck.
Didn't you say you wanted to have like, you wanted to purchase less?
Yes. Yeah, I'm gonna buy less. I'm gonna sample more and buy less. I wanna review some things on my channel. I wanna sample more things, buy sample sets, do more modern things. Excuse me. I wanna go and smell some more modern things as well. I've got a lot of vintage stuff. Obviously, if I find like another vintage mine, I will mine it. But I'm looking.
I've got a bone to pick with you as well.
Oh, go on then.
What happened to those crystal samples that I sent you?
I've still got them. All right, yeah, I can actually see them. Give us a sec.
Chanel crystal.
Yep, I sent him. How many did I send you? About 5.
Yeah, I've got them right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, that's right. A little
and
bag.
I used my label maker.
You did use a label maker, and you put
which
numbers
takes
on them.
a great skill because it's very fiddly, especially on those tiny bottles.
Yeah.
Here's a great comment. When can we expect Rich Mitch's Balenciaga deep dive review?
That will come later.
When you get to know it?
I'm not prepared. When I get to know it. No, when I get better at doing reviews.
It's gonna be.
You know, if you wait for perfection, it's never going to happen.
It's going to be when
Just
he can. So he's got 2 tripods. He's gonna have the big tripod in his living room, and it's gonna be like kind of he's gonna have a circle around him, but it's just gonna be bottles of Balenciaga around him. You know, like witches put like salt in the middle. And it's just gonna be the Duck in the middle of these Balenciaga bottles doing some kind of like chant.
I'll have it'll be like Stonehenge.
Doing a chant.
And they're just gonna be like letting off smoke and steam. It's like you're summoning the Balenciaga god.
I'll do it on the solstice. There'll be like a shaft of light. There'll be like a shaft of light that'll come through one of the bottles I've got.
It's like literally you're gonna just have like this surge of power. Like Eugene will have prepped you like a few weeks before on meditation, and you'll finally be able to go into the circle and embrace the Balenciaga god.
That's right. That's like I'll just turn into like a bottle of Balenciaga, like my ultimate form. You know what I mean? It's outrageous. I'm wearing it today. It nearly blew my head off earlier. But excuse me.
Oh, Alan Hanson's got a soap on a rope. You could use that as like some kind of like summoning gong, like just kind of whacking it.
I've got a gong.
Oh my gosh, you could tie the Balenciaga soap on a rope to the gong, and like somehow we can like channel that as well.
I have actually got a genuine gong. Did you not know this?
Yeah, but I just completely forgot because I was that enticed by the Balenciaga.
By the Balenciaga god, you were taken in.
The cult.
The cult, that's right. The cult of Balenciaga and the gong. That's how I summon them.
Can you hit the gong or is it too late?
Oh, do you want us to hit the gong now?
Smash the gong.
Go on.
On Christmas Eve, do I hit the gong now?
For the Yuletide.
For Yuletide gong. I will smash that gong. Not smash the gong, as Jeremy would say.
Wait, I heard a door opening. Has it got its own room, the gong?
Yeah, it has actually got its own room, yeah. I've got it in another room. The acoustics aren't as good in this room. Give us 2 seconds. I'm going to hang it. All right, hold on. Brace yourselves. Are you ready?
We're braced.
I need to warm it up. You have got to actually warm up the gong.
I feel like there needs to be like another 2. Like I think that needs to be like, it needs to come in 3s.
You drop the gong.
Just cackling the fuck.
How it vibrates differently on all 3 hits.
Yeah, I hit it 3 different ways. Different ways.
Did you stop it from vibrating on the last one there?
Yeah, I took it off.
Like, you smashed it and then you put your hand on it.
I didn't put my hand on it. I took it off, put it on the floor. I'm going back to bed now.
You're literally that guy, the percussionist in the orchestra. At the very end, there's been like this massive crescendo and it's building up. And his one claim to fame is hitting that gong, and you can always just tell how happy he is. That is you. That's what you need to do. That is your goal for next year.
That is my gong. To join a symphony and gong the gong.
To bong the gong.
El gong. That's what they call it. El gong. El duck gong. Oh, you know what I call my words.
So, Yura, when can we expect your perfume releases?
That's put me on the spot. I don't.
We're gonna have a Yura Whack Pack collaboration here for you. When you're good and ready, you let us know.
I will do. No, I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm ready just yet. I'm at the stage where I'm happy to do anything like that just yet.
That's fine. Personally. Take your time. Take as much time as you need. But we'd love to. Love to sample your work.
Definitely.
Oh, I'd happily send my stuff to you guys because I mean I respect all your opinions. So it'd be good to, because it's always hard. Like, you know, going back to the whole thing about fragrance evaluators and stuff, how they're useful. It's always good to get someone who has a good nose or good experience with perfume to really smell things and say that ain't right, you know, or that's good, and you can learn a lot from that. So I definitely expect me in the future to send stuff to you.
Gabe in that interview mentioned something that kind of stood out to me, and it was how much he kept praising Erwin Creed as a fragrance evaluator. What'd you all think of that?
Olivier.
Do you think he is? Yeah, Olivier. Sorry, Olivier Creed. What do y'all think of that? Do you think he is one of the great evaluators?
I don't know if it was different to like Frederick Mal, for example, because the way he was wording it, he wasn't like necessarily when you picked Green Irish Tweed. It's not like he picked it as like saying, "I'll add this, take this away." He picked a perfume that Pierre Bourdon had already made. Am I wrong saying that? And he said that was nice, and then he took it. That's different to like working with Dominic Ropignon and Carnal Flower, and yeah, as a process. I don't know if you worked with Pierre Bourdon. I mean, Rich has read the book; he might know. The other releases, did he work with him and was saying, "Okay, no, there's too much. I don't know. Add that gunpowder note in Silver Mountain Water, for example, or something like that."
No,
I think if he was doing that, maybe there could be a claim that he was a good evaluator. But if he was just picking stuff that Pierre had already finished and said that's nice, I don't know if that really is an amazing thing.
Right. It's like just picking favorites.
Especially since he was picking from Pierre Bourdon's work. I mean, who knows how many other masterpieces are just sitting in his workshop. You know what I mean? Like he could have just been picking among just Mozart's, you know?
I know.
It's tough to tell.
It could have been something better than the Millésime Imperial that he picked. that we never got. But if you had a different, better evaluator, we could have had, if that makes sense. So yeah, that we can't really judge that.
In the book it says that what he would do is he would pick the formulations that Pierre had rejected, and that he would pick them up, and then what he would do is he would change some of the ingredients to like higher quality ingredients, like a sandalwood, instead of it being like a synthetic. He would get like the top sandalwood and use that, or he would use ambergris instead of another fixative. And that's how we would like make them what they were. Like Pierre didn't necessarily use the finest ingredients in his like formulas, you know. So Olivier would pick them up and change a couple of things, like using like higher quality ingredients, and then put them out.
Did Pierre get like, obviously, did he ask Pierre like, okay, use this ambergris? Because even like changing ingredients, you'd still need to be able to like, you'd have to assess it as a perfumer to sort of see if it works. Because like changing, even if you're using higher quality ingredients, they can be slightly different. Did they say that in the book or?
No, but what he said about Aventus is that Olivier Creed walked into Pierre Bourdon's office and put a vial down on his table and said, "This is like a new musk. I want you to like make something with it." And it was that musk that became Aventus. And this was like years before Aventus came out. So Pierre was obviously teaching like Harold, and he was teaching Rascanet and stuff like that. And no idea. It was like it was an outrageous musk though. It's one of the musks in Aventus. And apparently it was like it was like a huge, I hate the term game changer, but it was a game changer. This musk was like nothing like it had ever been made before. You could do all sorts with it.
I'm trying to think.
Yeah, it was an outrageous musk. So it's all in there in the book. The book's definitely worth a read.
Yeah. I mean, there's not many perfume books out there, to be honest with you, especially in the English language.
Yeah.
There is some stuff, but like how well researched.
I imagine it's like, you know how like people are really kind of, they're not very forthcoming. You like think about cooks and like Michelin star cooks and chefs and whatnot. They're not very forthcoming, are they, with how they create things? And I imagine perfumer is a bit like that. Like it's kind of like people aren't wanting to share how they create these masterpieces because they've had to work so hard to nurture them in a way. That's just my theory. I don't know.
They can be, yeah. I agree. But the thing is that they all end up copying each other anyway with like GCMSs. That's the crazy thing.
Yeah. Have you heard of Helvetalide?
Yeah. I haven't.
That's apparently what it was.
Do you not find it frustrating to like keep adding so many different ingredients and then taking things out and feeling like you need to add it? Do you feel like, and this is to both Eugene and Yura, do you feel like it's sometimes you feel like you probably kind of accomplish a lot and then you kind of take like 5 steps back? Is that what it's constantly like? So you feel like you get in somewhere with what you're creating and then you change something or you tweak something and then it's completely different?
For me, it depends a lot on the specific perfume. Like not everything needs to be added to. So on one of our perfumes that I worked with Antoine, we ended up taking things out to make it work the way we wanted. It was a little bit too much going on. And I think sometimes, yes, you need to add something for complexity or just, to kind of capture whatever effect it is. But if it's too much and it doesn't make sense, things got to come out. So it's just a matter of balancing it. First, what the important thing is to kind of grasp that idea that you had in mind. And then it's just, you work with that idea. and just by playing with the concentrations or adding or subtracting things. And we've had to do it several times. But so the first perfume that we worked on, we just kept adding and changing concentrations. The second one was very different. It was like he originally started out with something that felt more like an accord, and I told him, we need to add something to this, and he did. He added a whole lot to it, which it didn't make sense. So we had to go back and start removing small things here and there. So it all depends on what it is you're looking for. But there's no really there's not a formula for that, for how many things need to go into a certain perfume. It's all like the perfume needs to make sense, and that's what I'm looking for. It needs to be balanced. It needs to smell good. It needs to smell quality, and it needs to make sense. And you kind of get that, like, when it makes sense when you're happy with it.
Yeah, no, I agree. When there's been many times that I've tried to make something, and I feel like, okay, the first draft of something is, say, 80% there. Then I think I need to change something. I change it, and I feel like I've taken it back to 60% there. So that, like, sometimes your first one is the closest to what your final will be as well, in a weird way. And it's almost like a bit of trial and error there, because different perfumers obviously like to approach things in a different way. I like to usually think of something, and I'd have a formula set down. Some perfumers just sit there and say how much you put in, constantly smell it. A lot of the time, I'll put down what I think I should put into it, what I have put into it, and then I'll assess it like that. But yeah, I agree, Audrey, when you said that you can go 5 steps back. Sometimes, yeah, that does happen, for me at least. But that's okay, because you learn from your mistakes as well, and you learn, okay, well, that's not the changes I wanted to make. So you sort of learn from that.
And does it generate a lot of waste as well? So like, there's only so many times you can kind of like tweak, as I don't know if it's called a solution, but you know what I mean? Like, is there only so many times you can do it, and then it's kind of, you've got to restart what you've originally planned?
Yeah, I mean, I don't throw away anything necessarily, and you have to try. I make very small amounts, like a 5 ml, sometimes a 10 ml of trials, but you don't really want to make any more than that, because there's no point making 100 ml of something you're trialing. That's just a lot of waste. I mean, I can get 10. I mean, if you divide that by 10, there's 9 parts out of that is being put to waste that I didn't need at the end of the day. So I wouldn't make 100 ml or something to test it. Max. I mean, if I feel like I'm happy with something, I put it into a 10 ml bottle, a spray bottle, and I'll keep assessing it, and make notes. I'm constantly making notes. And also, you have to wait for things to macerate. Maturation is something I'll do after I've assessed the maceration and see how that affects it. It's like there's a lot more goes into it than you think, basically, than I even thought. In terms of,
yeah, just from you guys describing it, it's just a minefield.
It can be tricky. It's not the easiest thing, but it just kind of comes, like you get the feeling of when it's done. And we've had to start over a few times on one fragrance, and there were times where I felt like, okay, this smells good, I like the idea, but I'm not in a 100% in love. And it's just a matter of things popping out either too soon or too late. And really all it takes is just a little bit of rebalancing. So you kind of go back to the original idea and start all over again. And that's kind of what's worked for us.
And you mentioned like people saying about, I remember who asked him that they said, is Bourdon a perfectionist? And the thing is, that's why it's good to have an evaluator, because if you're a perfectionist, there is literally no end to what you're doing. And it takes someone to say, like, stop, this is good, get it out there. Otherwise, you'll just keep carrying on with that one formula. When
do you know? It must be so hard to know when to stop.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I haven't actually made anything yet that I feel like I'm finished with, to be honest with you. I think that's why it's good to get other people's. I've showed my stuff to other perfumers to get their opinions and stuff. But that is so important. You have to share your work with other people that you trust and respect to get their opinions. You have to.
Yeah, and that's how you learn from other people, right? Feedback. And sometimes you might not like to hear it, but you sit and you ponder on it, and people can give you good advice, and you work from that. Especially people that are more informed or more experienced than you.
Yeah. Like for instance, I had one that I made, and straight away the perfumer says that needs some prismantol. It's a synthetic ingredient. I was like, well, okay, so I got some, put it in, 100% right. Just brought everything together. But that's something I missed. That was a blind spot in what I was looking at. And obviously, I'd never smelt prismantol before either. Like it's not like a common ingredient, but it was just the right touch that I needed, and that's why I think it's good to have, definitely have other people who know what they're talking about as well.
And that gives you a chance to learn from your mistakes. And now that you've learned, you'll always have that in your arsenal. You won't make that mistake next time.
Yeah.
So when you're both super duper famous and you're selling your bottles for £1,000 at a pop, can we all get friends and family discount? Would that be possible? I'm just asking the question that everybody else wants to know in the chat.
I know you're teasing us.
3 bottles for review.
Free bottles for everybody on the house.
We'll have to try and entice Duck out of his Balenciaga circle that he'll be chanting in.
But we'll send a free gospel.
Evil spirits. Warding off evil spirits of 3 bottles, staying in the purity of the Balenciaga sanctuary. In my stone circle of Balenciaga.
On the Balenciaga hill, and you've just got these people that make the journey up to you, Duck.
Yes, for advice on vintage scent. It's an arduous trek.
Do any of you wish there was like one quality that every perfume had or every perfumer would stick to? Like if you could assign a quality of whatever you want it to be, what would that be?
I think just love put into it, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Like just a bit of love and like you can tell like it's not been rushed. Like there has been care put into it. Even if you don't like it, that you can respect that they've put, their heart and soul into it. I think that's something you respect.
That's why I think I like vintage perfume so much, is because like look at Edmund Runitzko. We were talking about him earlier. He's got like 12 releases in his entire career, and he's considered to be like the greatest perfumer of all time. And I think Alberto Morillas has released like 12 fragrances in the last week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I think that's the difference. Is back then they used to take their time. I mean, a release used to be a big deal. Like Karl Lagerfeld, we were talking about Lagerfeld Cologne. They released that in 1978. I don't think they had another men's release for like 5 years. It was supposed to be a big deal back then when a house would release a fragrance. Now they just put it out, see if it sticks. If it does, great. If not, they'll release something else in 3 months. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, it's painful. It is. It's painful when you see like the way that the industry's changed. I wish it would go back to the way it was, where they would spend more time. That's when Jura said like love. I was gonna say time.
Yep.
Yeah, I was going to say like just take out market testing and the commercialization of everything, which pretty much equals what, putting in some love and effort and care and some inspiration, other than going down that path of like, let's put in like, the path of least resistance the most easiest thing to wear is what they're creating today.
And they're sanitizing everything. Like, you know, was it Oppenheim who was talking on the stream the other day and said that Ego East wouldn't have passed a market test. That if they had done market testing, they wouldn't have released Ego East, which is amazing. You know, so those market tests just sanitize everything. They take all the emotion, all the feeling out of it. That's why I'm excited about your fragrances, Eugene, because I know you're not out there market testing them. It's just what you love.
That's right. I am the market test.
That's it.
I'm gonna pass my test. Yeah, we all have our different tastes and styles. So, you know, my perfumes were obviously based around my tastes and what I love. So there won't be anything, you know, clean or fresh.
But you're not trying to just sell the most bottles. You know, you're putting out what you actually feel, and I think that's what the perfume industry lost. You know, the market tests aren't to make it, you know, easier for everyone. They're trying to make it easier to sell as many bottles as they can to as many people, and to get some of the things that people like us want. I feel like you have to go down the vintage rabbit hole. You could go niche, but then I actually went and grabbed this. This is Roja's book. I got this for $50 at Half Price Books. They're selling this thing for $500, $700, $1,000 online. It's completely insane. But he goes through all of like the history of perfume and some of the great houses. He does know his stuff, but you have to go down the vintage rabbit hole if you want to see what we lost, you know, and we lost a lot, in my opinion.
Yeah, it is. It's true. It's the state of the designer floor now in the department store compared to what it was 30, 40 years ago is painful. There's a lot more choice, but there's a lot less diversity.
And the shop assistants just don't care. Like, they could not give a rat's ass. Like, I remember, like, I mean, I would have, like, been a really young teenager, like 13, 14, going in a department store with, like, my mum was an experience. Like, and you would ask, you know, a sales assistant about a perfume or about makeup or anything, and they would know it to the letter. Whereas now it's like you go in and it's dead. And I'm only speaking about, you know, like British department stores like John Lewis, BT's, House of Fraser. You know, there's all those ones have pretty much died out of the high street, and you don't have that experience anymore. You don't, like, it's nice having a fragrance, you know, delivered to your doorstep, but it's also nice having that service that you got in a department store with someone wrapping it up and talking to you about the fragrance, and, you know, you're just casually chatting about it. Like, I miss that kind of like personal touch.
Yeah.
And everything now, it's just on social media. It's on TikTok, it's on Instagram. You know, you only get part of something, and I don't always like that. Like, when you used to go to a department store, you'd have to kind of make the journey there. Like, it'd take effort. Whereas now it's just you jump online and it's there next day. It's kind of like the chase is like being cut out of it a bit, which I really like.
No, it's interesting you said that, and I agree with, like, this might sound harsh, but I think my generation embrace a bit of laziness, if that makes sense. Laziness in things. And it's kind of sad because I write poetry as well, and I try and publish poetry on the side. And a lot of the poetry out there is very lazy, like 2 lines, there's no inspiration in there, it's just someone saying something. And that kind of bugs me. And I can see it almost in perfume. There's a bit of laziness, like the whole GCMS thing. This works, let's get it out there. People like it. And I, to be honest with you, I don't know how these companies make money by constantly releasing things and then discontinuing them and stuff like that. They must make their money like sending it to like like these online retailers like Notino to get like sell at discounts and stuff like that, because I don't see how you can make money by just keep putting things out there that's not really selling, if that makes sense, because it does cost to create new. Maybe that's why they rehash formulas, because they know that it costs to make a formula, so you already have all these pre-made formulas, so that sort of cuts out the cost as well. But yeah, I just think my generation embraces things that are a bit lazy, to be honest with you. That's a harsh criticism.
Yeah. Running on that, I don't know if it's, maybe you're right, maybe it is laziness, but I think a lot of it too is distraction of distracting themselves of a fear of failure, not being inspired, not looking deep enough within themselves for creativity, because they've got access to so much stimulation, to so much that distracts them from themselves, like social media, like, gadgets, like video games, that we've never really had at this sort of level before. Like when I was a kid, we didn't have access to this. We went outside and we played in nature. We played in the rivers and the lakes and in the woods and in forests, and we got to discover ourselves, and we had relationships and friends, and we had conversations with other people. We had a connection to earth, and I don't see that same thing today. Yes, kids, you're right, kids are lazy. They just want to lay down, and they want to play their video games or sit on their phones. And I think that's kind of goes hand in hand with laziness, is a distraction from themselves. And as long as they're distracted, they'll never find inspiration. Inspiration is found inside, connecting to those feelings.
Yeah, that's why these brands spend so much time, I think, on just the top notes nowadays, because they go to the department store, they spray it on. If it doesn't catch someone's attention instantly, they're gone. You know what I mean? Like in the old days, people took home a perfume and they expected to spend a week or two or a month with it to really wear it and understand it. Now the brand has 5 seconds at the counter. Do you like it? Yes, or no, and that's it. And so the perfumers don't focus on the rest of the scent. They're not spending a year or two developing a scent that's going to have a proper dry down. That's why these brands like Les and Indemodables are right up our alley, because they're doing it for the love of perfume, not to catch someone's attention at a department store,
Yeah.
That's why I made the 2 perfumes a month rule, because I started getting into it at the very beginning of lockdown, so 18 months ago, 2 years. And I think I said to the duck at one point, like, I need to stop. Like, I'm just buying and buying and buying, and I'm just not allowing myself to have time with the things that I've got in my collection. And 2 is probably still quite a high number, like it definitely is, but in terms of vintage, it's hard, I think, sometimes to limit yourself. But I just found myself getting sucked in. Maybe it's kind of the fact I was trying to get a collection on the go. But people nowadays, it's all so fast. Everything, fast fashion, fast food. Like, it's just people don't savor stuff anymore. Like, and I think that's why I've saved these fragrances till like the festive period. Like, I know it sounds daft, but I'm just thinking it would just be nice to wait and kind of like a pat on the back for what I've done this year at work. And I think sometimes we forget ourselves and get sucked in with how fast the tide is moving, I think.
I agree. And the same holds true for me. And I know, sorry, I have a train going by. The more perfumes that I own or consume, the less I'm able to appreciate everything I have and get, create a relationship with the things that I already love. So I'm limited in the amount of time that I have to learn these perfumes as in a way that I'd like to. Like, I'd like to go deeper into them, but you know, the more perfumes you have, it just makes it much more difficult.
Mm-hmm.
And the same way, like owning more perfumes is just, you're going through them quicker, but you're not able to create that relationship, like a really close relationship with them.
I sometimes wonder as well, like a lot of the big hard hitters in terms of like perfumery, you know, like opium, the big one, poison, cocoa, all the ones that have come before the 80s. Would they be as big now if they were released now, or is it because around that time there wasn't as many releases? You know, it's quite interesting to start thinking about it.
I had a debate talking about like music, and people was talking about like you can look in the past as well with sometimes with rose tinted glasses. Like people think, oh, the past music was all classic songs, like every song was brilliant, but there was shit music released in the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s. It's only now you just filter through the good stuff as any stuff it's like stood the test of time. Of course, there were shite perfumes made in the 50s and 60s and 70s, but it was not. I mean, maybe music is not a good analogy because the sheer amount of shite we get released now in terms of perfume is so much different to then. Like we're not getting. You wasn't having 3,000 releases a year almost in 1975. You know, but yeah, I mean.
And I think you've hit the nail on the head as well with the nostalgia. Like I think a lot of people like long for that nostalgia in their life, whether it's music or perfumery or clothes, an experience that they've had. And
Audrey, you're going in and out. I'm having a hard time understanding you.
Hello?
It's like you're under your pillow or something.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Or my Wi-Fi was going to Yura's house.
You're stealing your Wi-Fi. Sure, blame Europe.
Thank you, Audrey.
But yeah, I think everyone.
Oh, it's doing it again.
Huh?
It's doing it again. Are you using your headphones?
No. Let me try and.
You need one of those ASMR microphones. You know, you can tap it for us as well.
Do you guys think things like H24 and Dolce & Gabbana K or YSL Y will stick around, or these will be discontinued with the next trend? Just like, you know, how everything's so fast today. You get a product, you use it for a couple days, and you throw it out. Do you think perfume is heading that way as well?
I think H24 will stick around just because I can't see Hermes getting rid of it. They'll just keep it anyway. I don't know. It's hard.
Yeah, H24 will probably get a flanker, but on the other side of the coin, I mean, I was thinking about this. I mean, look at us. We're sitting here talking about, you know, what an art form perfume is, and look at vintage prices, though. I mean, is it just supply and demand because they're not making anymore, or are people really realizing the absolute shite that these brands are putting out, and they yearn for what a vintage opium used to give them, and they're not finding it, so they're going out like people like us and hunting that down, and that's driving the prices up, you know? So
Ramsey, I'll answer that question for you straight. The reason why vintage has gone up, one word, or maybe two: the duck. Here's drove those prices up for the last 2 years, and they
Somebody
will
take
continue
out the
to
duck.
rock it. He has caused the inflation. Like literally, it's gonna be like Germany soon. We're gonna be having to like print money left, right, and centre because of the hyperinflation.
Watch gong prices go up soon as well.
This is your fault, and I'm looking at you, and I'm gonna throw all the books at you as well.
The books.
Somebody put a target on that man.
No, Ramsey. I think both. I think both of what you said. I think the fact that more people are probably purchasing them, so there's less chance of you being able to get them. And I do think as well, like, there seems to be a perk in vintage everywhere, whether it's perfumery or fashion or music. It's really kind of everything at the minute. Just, I feel like people have really kind of, I don't know, really started to favour vintage, like, in the last few years a lot more.
Okay.
And when you do, like, like what you said as well on your perfume channel, like, it's just amazing. Like, it's the best thing ever. You go vintage, you don't really go back.
Do you reckon in 40 years' time there'll be people hunting for vintage Sauvage because ambroxan's been restricted and they want that high amount of ambroxan in the Sauvage? Like, it'd be crazy. There probably will be people out there.
It's
in
true.
The future.
20-year-old kids today, you know, in 20 years, will be looking for vintage Sauvage.
Not
same
enough
way
ambroxan in the new
for
stuff.
Pavarotti. So what do you think the lesson is here? What are we learning from modern perfume? There's got to be something that we can take away from this.
It's shite.
Well, that's surface level. Let's go a little bit deeper.
There is a focus on the lowest common denominator. That perfume has become less of an art than what it was. The more democratized it's become, that it's appealing to the focus groups. And if you're not in the focus groups, you are not an influencer. It doesn't matter. The people on YouTube, the people on Instagram, they're not influencers, they're salespeople. The marketers, they are not influencers. The influencers are the people in the focus groups who are telling the brands what they like, how they feel about things, and what they should be making more of. The people on the other end of the digestive system of perfume are the people in quote inverted commas influencers and consumers.
Yes.
That we are the arse end. We are the last digit on the snake's tail. We are the arse end of the perfume business, not the people. We aren't the people who are making the decisions. We are the people who the decisions are being made for. And if you choose to engage with that by putting your money straight into the pockets of the companies like Dior, like Chanel, like Gucci, like Tom Ford, like all of them, if you buy at retail, you are feeding the beast that is shitting on you, frankly. If you want things to change, stop giving them your money. It's the only language they understand. Which is why I buy vintage. None of the money goes to the big companies.
I also think as well, if you had if you had a fragrance, like a current formulation and a vintage, hands down, like 75%, even higher, you will always go to the vintage one. Always. Like a blind. This is why so I'm going to do the ultimate test with the duck. So the crystal, the crystal samples that I've sent the duck, there's some current formulations in there and there's some vintage. And he needs to work out what the vintage ones are. And that will put it to the test, because only I know the answers. So he's got 5 bottles and he was going to do a stream. I don't know if he's still going to, but we're going to put it to the test and see if he can work out current formulation to the vintage ones.
Oh God, what if you're wrong, Duck?
I know. Everything will be a lie.
Let's see if he can really smell the oak moss.
Was it Gabe saying that somebody had, was it Christoph Laudemile sent Luke a turn 2 samples, unmarked samples of the exact same perfume, and he had misfired on them.
Yeah, he gave it 2 different ratings.
That's right. Yeah. So it's possible, you know, your nose can play tricks, or perfume is very subjective. One day will be very different wearing than the next.
But the other thing is if every single
It's not
person
an absolute truth.
I was just gonna say if every single person in the chat created a fragrance and we all had our own fragrance house, we might have 1 or 2 that, you know, is an art form and they took their time and everything. But now we're down to all of these 100 people were purchased up by 1 or 2 brands and they own everything. You know, like this bottle I'm wearing today, this was created from Escada Beauty. You know, it wasn't LVMH. Escada Beauty had their own factory, you know what I mean? And then they got purchased, and then Guerlain got purchased.
Plurality.
So,
there's no plurality anymore. Everything's under the same, like, 4 or 5 brands. There's absolutely no plurality anymore at all. It's shocking.
But then also, could you argue that because everything's so fast moving, they've got to keep up? They've got to keep up with the Joneses type thing. Do you know what I mean? Like, if they just stop, are they going to get left behind and not turn a profit?
Well, that's it. They've got themselves into an arms race. Called it competition. But is it competition?
Why is a brand like Frederick Malle, who's under Estee Lauder, still able to do, you know, what they like and still be creative? But like, why, for example, are they allowed to do that, but another brand not? Is it the umbrella brand?
He must be making enough money.
I think Estee Lauder gives them good freedom. I think they're very good at that.
At £1,000 a pop, they can probably do what they want.
Yeah. With £1,000 a bottle, yeah. If it sells, you know what I mean? It's like Roger Dove. If it sells and he can afford to, he can probably do. That said, Roger Dove puts out loads of fragrances every year. You know, the brand does, not the man. He has some very talented perfumers.
Yura, you look tired. Are you okay?
No, I'm just listening. I did zone out there a bit, but I'm coming back. Don't worry.
Do you need?
I heard Roger Dove and my ears perked up. No, I don't know if I can add much to what you guys are saying, to be honest with you, because I agree.
How many are you going to be churning out a year?
Me? Oh God!
When you're a multi-millionaire.
But the thing is, you'd be a fool to try and go into perfume like I am and think you're going to be rich. It's not going to happen. It's not something you want to do because you want to be rich. I'm actually losing more money actually here than gaining, and I wouldn't do it for money anyway. I know people just say that, but I've never been someone who's really driven by money. I mean, I wouldn't turn down the things I had in front of me and do this if it was for money at all. I just want to do my perfume stuff. That's all. In the remote parts.
It's amazing you're taking a risk. You know, that takes a lot of courage, especially like the decision you've had to make to go into it as well.
It was a scary one, but I would do it even. I mean, I was afraid doing it, taking the risk, but I wouldn't change it for anything, to be honest with you. I'm just doing what I love to do at the moment, so yeah.
We'll all chip in and get that Wi-Fi sorted for you in no time.
Yeah, my Wi-Fi shows you how rich I am at the moment.
We'll get you on those Zoom meetings in no time.
Yeah. I'm trying to catch up with the comments as well, actually, because some people are asking me questions, but I've completely missed some of them. So I'm sorry to the people I've missed. My apologies.
I'm going to put the link out if anyone else wants to come on.
I'm gonna go in a
How
minute.
did you guys?
I'm tired.
I was just going to ask, how did you all get started in your fragrance journeys? I mean, I don't know. People might know all this, but I don't really know the four of you guys.
Ramsey, how'd you get started?
I kind of started backwards from everyone else. I mean, when I was a kid, I used to wear like Nautica, you know, the original blue bottle Nautica and stuff like that. Just you know, the usual department store stuff. And then probably about 10 years ago, I discovered vintage, and I just assumed that the highest priced perfume was the best. So I started buying all this Creed and Amouage, and that's all I owned. And so for years, I walked around thinking that was pretty much the mountaintop for fragrance. And then I learned that it's not true. I mean, I learned that there's fragrances out there like Encre Noir, Al Extreme, which I enjoy better than a lot of Creed. So I kind of went about it backwards. I just assumed best price, best quality. And then, you know, 4 or 5 years ago, I learned about this whole other world that just opened my eyes to what was out there. And then I learned about vintage, and it just, you know, now I'm completely in the rabbit hole. I'll peek my head out every now and then and look. But to be honest, I'm happy with all that I've discovered and purchased, and you know, the perfume history knowledge that I'm kind of able to gain from wearing some of these vintages. We need to send you a vintage starter pack. Have you smelled some of these vintages we're talking about? Have you smelled Balenciaga Pour Homme?
No, I haven't. I'm completely ignorant.
You gotta get some starter pack.
Yeah.
I'll send you
some.
some.
To those of you, I might find it incredibly inspiring actually to smell the old stuff. I'll be really
Ramsey,
interested.
what would you choose to be in the starter pack?
Oh.
I've put you on the spot, haven't I?
Yes, you have. I mean, if I'm picking the starter pack, I would pick Koros, and I would pick Antaeus and Leonard Pour Homme and the heavy leathers that I love. But I mean, you would have to put stuff like, you know, you would have to put the classics like Shalimar and Le Bleu and Mitsuko, and you probably smelled some of those, right, girl?
Yeah, but not the vintages.
Okay.
I know
Balenciaga.
Vintage Habit Rouge. Now that would be an interesting one for me.
Yes.
That would be a very
Rich, what would be in your starter pack?
Sorry?
What would be in your starter pack?
Shuggy. What else? Knees 10. Chanel number 5. Eau Sauvage. Koros. Green Irish Tweed. Aqua di Gio. Dior Homme, the original 2005.
Yes, that's a good shout.
Tuscan leather. Hold on, Audrey, I can't hear you. Is Audrey there? I thought I heard her speak. I can't hear you speak. I think she's talking to someone else. Anyway, Tuscan. I can't hear you.
I'm going to mute her mic until she gets it sorted out.
All right. Tuscan leather I would put in there. And what else would I put in there? Loewe Pour Homme. Azaro Pour Homme. Opium.
Oh, yeah.
Youth Dew. Mitsuko. Some of the Guerlain colognes. Just so you could get you could hit like some of the classics, but also get like some of the ones that were like evolutionary. Maybe it's M7. Fahrenheit, yes, that's right.
Well, yeah, the Fahrenheit. I mean, I'd love to smell vintage Fahrenheit because I remember smelling that back in like the early 2000s, late 90s as a kid.
I've got a 200 ml 1992 bottle coming. I will send you some. when it arrives.
Thank you. Thank you.
Cut on.
I'm gonna wear the I'm gonna wear the shit out of that when it arrives. Absolutely.
The piss out of it.
I'm gonna wear the
Audrey
piss out of
hasn't-
it.
Audrey hasn't smelled Fahrenheit, she told me, apparently,
That's bonkers.
in any form.
Can
I
you
said,
hear me
have
now?
to-
We can hear you
Yeah.
now.
Yes.
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 Duck, you forgot Small Toe and Pavarotti, didn't you?
I don't know that they're like the seminal fragrances that like I love them, but I don't know that I would put them in a starter pack for the world to see. It's like a time capsule. You have to think outside of yourself. You know, it's like you have to go with the classics.
Yeah.
I'll tell you something really obscure that I would love to smell. A perfume called Troyny or Troynoy, and it's by a house called, I think it's by Brocard, but it's the perfume, it's the aftershave that Stalin wore, and I would love to smell that just so I could fucking smell what the horrible fucker smelled like. Do you know what I mean?
You should
So
read
I could
like
smell
Karl
it.
Marx while wearing it or something like. Really?
Yeah, that's right.
He was really handsome when he was younger.
Sorry?
Joseph Stalin was really handsome when he was younger. He looked a bit like Zayn Malik.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, he looked like a massive hipster. Yes.
Yeah, he was really good looking.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, I've seen the pictures. I know which ones you mean. He looks like a proper modern man.
Kind of a bit like Yura.
A bit like
See,
you,
I
right?
look like Stalin.
How many millions of people have you killed, Yura?
I haven't given them my fragrances yet. Don't worry.
No, that's right.
You've not been completely honest about the job that you've left behind.
You've been burying people at the gulag. Who is that scratching around?
Who's the new guest?
Yeah, who is the new guest?
Sorry.
Oh, that's Nishko from Sweden. Nishko, how you doing?
Oh, what's up, man?
Sorry, you
Hello,
got
guys.
lost there in the conversation.
So the thing is, I'm just, in the background, listening to you all. Eugene, you look amazing. Rich, you sound amazing. These two other guys, I could listen to you all for the rest of the week. I'm just enjoying myself. Audrey, you sound amazing as well.
What is it that excites you about this conversation or about perfume live streaming?
I mean, it's just you always go into different topics, exploring. So I can, just sit back and listen, learn new things, have a laugh here and now and then, just listen. And then we get someone like, I don't know, I'm sorry, I don't know your name, but the perfume.
Yura?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got Yura and Ram.
Yura. Okay.
On the right.
Yeah, I mean, just this different type of content,
It's nice to meet you.
So yeah, I'm gonna just sit back.
Well, we're glad that you enjoy.
Listen.
Some people find this conversation quite boring, but
What are you wearing today? Or tonight?
I'm wearing Mitza, actually. Tonight.
Good choice.
Yeah,
I like
thanks.
Mitza.
Yeah, it's good.
Oh,
So-
Mitza. Why was I thinking Mizia? Sorry. Okay, Mitza. Christian Dior Mitza.
Yeah, Mitza. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Interesting. Good. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Very Chanel Le Leon-esque, I would say.
Do you think so? I think Le Leon is way more.
Well, they're not exact, obviously, but they're within genres of each other.
Okay, yeah, I get it. Yeah, I would say so.
Talking about
Is
the
this mic
Leonis.
better?
Yeah.
Or do I sound like I'm underwater again?
Now you sound good.
Do I sound like the voice of God?
You sound like you're
No.
using Asthma. These guys are absolutely right. You should use Asthma. We just don't know what theme. You need
Your
to find a good
commercial.
theme.
She's gonna do your commercial, Eugene.
Yeah, if
That's
I'm going
right.
to commercialize, yes, you can. But you have to do it in French and go like, like Chanel. You know how they do that, like really that kind of like that sexual, tony French accent thing. It's always like, okay,
Chateau Eugene.
that got hot really quick.
I always like Chanel fragrance adverts because they always put so much money into it. It's like a short film.
Yeah.
Wasn't Brad Pitt the face of number 5 at a period? I heard. Oh,
He was
Blue,
for a few
wasn't it?
years, but that just kind of confused everybody, and people thought it was like a new Chanel fragrance for men.
you
So
should
I'm
have been
not
the
sure
face
if
of
the
Coco or something.
advertising worked for that time, and they pulled it down quite quick.
I liked the one with Nicole Kidman in.
She did number 5 as well.
Yeah, I thought that was fantastic. Who directed that? Baz, who did Moulin Rouge?
I don't know.
Baz Luhrmann, someone.
Anybody? Going once?
And
Going
she
twice?
was, so they wanted her to do the advert. Chanel did, and she said, "I'll do it. I'll film it, but he needs to direct it." And they had a good relationship because she was in Moulin Rouge and he was directing it. But I can't remember.
I haven't got a clue. Have any of you guys ever smelt any raw materials in terms of perfume? Like, have you smelt like labdanum or vetiver or?
I've smelled labdanum. You can buy it. You can actually buy it on Amazon.
Really?
Yes.
I'm getting it from the wrong
They
place.
will ship it to you. And you know what? That labdanum that I actually bought for like $10 or something on Amazon that came to me, it smelled like it could be a perfume in and of itself. It was one of the most beautiful things I've ever smelled. It was amazing. Labdanum is so deep. I mean, I could see why houses like Roja overdose labdanum in some of their fragrances because it is a fantastic natural resin.
Yeah, you could easily make a perfume just out of vanillin and labdanum.
Yep.
Like it's just a basic amber, but you could easily just rock that. But yeah.
I would love to smell ambergris.
I've smelled some raw materials, and they smell very different than what you would imagine when you smell them on their own. Like completely different. You're like, oh wow, this is what ylang smells like. You think you can pick it out in some perfumes, and you probably can, but when you smell it on its own, it is so very different.
It's like lavender,
right?
Yeah. There's actually lavender is an interesting one. Like you get Spanish lavender, French lavender. There's English lavender, which is really rough and hairy chested and quite strong. You can even get like a different type of lavender that's really soft called lavendim.
Yes.
Which I really love. Which is a lot more softer, gentle. And they're kind of, you can have, I mainly use French lavender or lavandin basically. I'd be scared to use the English stuff, even though it's like it's nice if you use it as like an aromatherapy oil, but perfumey, it's just like it's an absolute beast.
Is the English stuff more dry?
More herbal, like it's
so more green.
It's closer to, yeah, but it's also going more like heading towards rosemary almost. If that makes sense. But,
because like you say, like the raw ingredients smell so much different to how we associate them in perfumery. How do we know that a rose smells like a rose if it doesn't really smell like a rose? Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I'm trying to say? How does our brain get wired to think that's
well, rose oil smells completely different than a rose bush or a garden or a rose accord would smell. So, like a rose accord is it's something that has to be built up, and some rose accords have no rose in them whatsoever to build like a picture perfect rose.
Rose oil, like some
that
rose oil smell like vinegar.
Something that
rose oil
could be
smell like vinegar.
If it's
Go ahead.
They could go off. Usually it goes off if it smells a bit sour, by the way. So I'd be careful. But yeah, I know what you mean. Some of them are very sharp, the oils. But
like
Rose Absolute.
Right, which would be something used in Frederick Mull's Portrait of a Lady. But you take something like Un Rose, and that is more of a picture perfect rose. You know, the leaves, the stems, the soil, the dirt. That's more like accords used to create that picture. Portrait of a Lady to me smells less like what you would picture a rose as, because it's more rose oil.
Yeah. Sorry, am I speaking over? I don't know if there's a delay. I don't know if there's a delay on my end if I'm speaking over you guys, so I apologize in advance.
No, you're fine.
That's what I find crazy. So you say like it's completely different in its kind of like raw formulation, and then how we smell it on the other end, just madness. I think it's crazy.
It all depends on what the perfumer wants to portray. What is he visualizing, and what does he want you to see? Just because somebody's using a rose oil in it doesn't mean it's going to necessarily smell like a rose, the way we see a rose or the way you remember smelling a rose.
So now you guys have got well underway in like creating your formulas. Has that like completely changed the way that you perceive your perfumes now in your collection? Has it changed it slightly? Can you like pick things out more, or you know?
What was that?
I can give an example.
Did you hear what I asked?
Yes.
I didn't get it all.
Sorry, can you hear me?
So like now that you're well underway,
I can give an example. Like,
I think there's a
so I can give an example of you know, like Tobacco Oud from Tom Ford. I like that perfume when I first smelt it, but I don't like it anymore because all I can smell is two ingredients in it that he put into it. And one is cypriol, which is the oudi material, and the other one's a material called tabanone, which is the tobacco leaf note. And it's a really strong, I'm not a fan of it, and I just find it's very strong, and I can just smell those two notes, and just having those two notes in my head puts me off, and I think, and I kind of wish I couldn't smell it, if that makes sense. And I agree with like when Eugen said about when I first started smelling materials, it is like a weird moment that you smell some things, you're like, oh, that's what that smells like. Because before, it's just by association. Like you smell one perfume that apparently has jasmine in it, another perfume has jasmine, and even though two different perfumes, and you're picking up, oh, there's a similarity in them. That's what the jasmine must be. It must be that similarity. But when you actually smell the material by itself, then it's completely different. And like Eugen was talking about Rose Absolute to me doesn't smell like roses. It's like this weird metallic, crushed, jammy flower material, if that makes sense. And you need to add some more to it to create a photorealistic rose. But those materials, when you actually go up to rose, like you in Givaudan, they use the headspace thing, where they put it over and you get like it's like a walk around GCMS basically. But the whole point of being creating, that's why I talk about accords. When you build up like a rose accord, you're trying to recreate what the flower would be in nature, because it loses some of those. It loses some of the molecules in the process of
Is something going on? I feel like there's a delay.
I don't know if the stream's like
Distillation.
delayed.
Obtaining the.
I think it's Yura's Wi-Fi. He's not stealing enough
like,
Wi-Fi.
I can't remember who said it, but there's a really good example. Like, if you smell orange oil, it smells like marmalade. It doesn't smell like oranges.
I'm so confused.
You're on a lag, Yura.
I don't know whether to talk. Like,
hey,
you need
Yura,
to pay
Yura,
your internet provider.
Yura, can you
hear me?
Like, go out of the stream and then come back?
Oh.
So that's like what I could never be a perfumer, man. If I'm spending all that time extracting something from like a rose and it doesn't end up smelling like rose, I would be pissed as a motherfucker.
Well,
I don't give
what
a
does
shit,
a rose
man.
smell like to you?
Huh?
What does a rose smell like to you?
I mean, how
Like
does
the
it smell?
one
It
that
smells
you
like a rose. Like when you smell a rose, that's how it smells to me. I don't know.
You know, another natural ingredient that you can buy that's awesome. I got some from Oman actually is olibanum.
Oh yeah.
Is what, sorry?
Olibanum.
Okay, guys, I will be back in 1 moment. You guys keep going.
Oh God,
Take
Duck,
over.
are you asleep?
Duck's
Duck
done.
needs to take
Duck,
the reins.
We need you.
All right, Yura's back. I'm gonna let Yura on, and I will be back.
We'll be fine, boys and girls.
Hello.
Thank you.
Hello.
Sorry. What was happening? I felt like I was having a breakdown.
You're on a delay.
You were having a breakdown.
Oh God.
You
I've
were
turned my
stuck in the
camera
Matrix.
off. Yeah, I'm turning my camera off just in case that's creating more issues. So you're just gonna have to
Where's
stare
the
at me.
duck?
I'm here.
Come on then, take the lead. Let's go. Wakey, wakey.
I don't know what you want us to do. I was just waiting for Ramsey to tell us about his olibanum.
Yeah,
Yes.
go on. Yes, please.
My old man brought me some back from Oman. The best olibanum you can get. It's fantastic. It's you can even smell it without burning it. It smells completely different once it's burned versus once it's just in the resin form. But you can buy all this stuff on Amazon for like $10 or $15 if you're really interested. I even just saw some natural myrrh resin. You can get a pound of it on Amazon for $15. I wonder what that's like.
Wow.
Yeah, Omani frankincense is beautiful. I burnt all of mine. I've got some, but the thing with materials as well. Like I remember someone was showing me 2 grades of pink pepper CO2 extraction, and he's like, "Which one's more expensive and which one's cheaper?" And straight away you could tell the difference between the one that was more expensive and the one that was cheaper. Like the one that was cheaper just smelled like just a really flat, like woody pepperiness, but the other one, the expensive one, had this like sharp freshness to it that was just completely different, and apparently it was twice the price. So it's interesting when it comes to like you can definitely get different grades of materials as well. Like I've got some things that I've got some good grades of things and bad grades of things. But sometimes even the stuff that isn't as expensive still has its uses. Like if I'm making a perfume that's just like purely about pink pepper, you'd want the best pink pepper, if that makes sense. But if it's just like a side note, sometimes it doesn't really matter if it's hidden by lavender, let's say.
Is it the extraction process, or is it the quality of the ingredients, Yura?
Both. Can be both. And that's why I think that's why I kind of respect when Remy was coming on the stream talking about Les Indomptables and his lab. And you can tell he has a lot of passion into the ingredients. He actually goes to the people he's from sourcing it, who's growing it, to actually having his own lab to extract it. I mean, it's almost like he's treating like his child, you know, from source to actual oil. So yeah, definitely, if you get crappy materials and you use the best processes, it might not be as good as something that's good, better materials. But when you said about Omani frankincense, yeah, that stuff is especially. What did it look like? Was it like that really sort of whitey green, almost like drops?
Yeah, I might even have some here. Let me see if I can find it.
Outrageous. We're getting all sorts of treats coming up tonight. Rare treat.
Santa has come early.
Santa's coming tonight, that's right. It doesn't feel like Christmas, does it? It's proper mental.
No, it doesn't.
One of my friends had a tooth abscess this morning and had to go to the dentist.
Let's see. Where is it?
Fancy.
Can you guys see that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Looks like a hard-boiled sweet.
Yeah. They don't know what hard-boiled sweets are.
Looks
Is that
like
what
boba.
hard-boiled sweets are?
Boba jelly.
Yeah, I can see it. Looks lovely. Do you burn it? Or...
Yes, absolutely. I only have a little bit left though, so I've been saving it. But
yeah,
it's gorgeous. I mean, the resin itself is beautiful.
You can eat it as well.
Yes. I've never tried. I won't try.
Don't eat it.
So how does it smell?
Yeah, what do you get when you smell it?
Tell me.
It doesn't smell. It smells a little bit lemony, actually.
Yeah.
It smells pine. It smells like a pine lemon mixture. But when you burn it, it smells completely different, actually. It smells a bit like bought on sauce from our mind.
It smells like what?
Bought on sauce.
Ah, yes. It's that's very. I get a like an oily sort of vibe from from like really rich incense sort of things, like a almost like a petroleum sort of vibe, you know.
Hola.
You feel this back?
Hola, mi amores.
We survived.
Hey.
What I miss?
We were checking out some Omani incense.
One of my favorite notes or materials.
What you got going on there, buddy?
Are y'all knackered or what? What's going on?
When you smell that?
I'm tired.
Who else is here? Who's gone? Who's left?
I was
No
just
one?
going to ask Ramsey, when he smells the
Audrey, is she still here?
Do you get the references to, you know, you're talking about Sauvage Parfum?
What?
Yes. What?
What?
Say that again. Say that again, Jura.
You're up. You're up. I think we lost them.
Massive lad.
What were you talking about?
All about him.
All about him.
Oh my God! What a massive delay.
They don't make Wi-Fi in Ireland, eh?
No, he's definitely streaming off that.
Oh no.
All right, so who's got the milk and cookies ready?
What for?
For Santa.
No.
You're gone.
I'm too tired. Too tired for Santa.
Who's getting a perfume?
I had to always leave him a whiskey in my house.
I'm giving a perfume, sadly.
What are you giving?
I'm giving away my Fève Delicious to my beloved.
Why? your own personal Fev?
One of my personal. It's a 2014 bottle.
Do you not find any more room in your heart for it, or it's something that somebody wants from you?
No, I have two 250 ml bottles, and
250 ml bottles. Wow.
And she's been wanting, yeah, basically since I bought mine, she's been wanting one, like, yeah, forever.
How many bottles did you say were in your collection?
I don't know exactly. It's like 70 or 80, but every bottle is 100 ml or more.
Okay.
So
what are the bottles? What bottles do you have most from one house?
Oh, Dior, easy.
Really?
Yeah, I have like, I think I have 15 bottles of Dior 2005 to
How many?
2000, like 15. And all of them are 100 ml.
A vintage Dior Homme.
Yeah, vintage Dior Homme from 2005 to 2010. The
I've got
silver stem.
I've got 5. I've
And
only
then
got 5.
I think I have 9 now, and I'm gonna buy 2 more of Dior Homme Intense from 2005 to 2010.
Okay.
The silver neck or whatever it's called.
Right. Is this like FOMO, or you love it so much, or are you collecting them to resell? What's up?
Dude, I'm just scared of running out. That's
really
all.
Think you're going to run out?
I don't think so, but I just want to be on the safe side.
I honestly don't think I will finish a single bottle of perfume at the rate I'm going at. And if I do, I've got 500 others.
I think you have a slightly bigger collection than I have. I mean, just look behind you. You have like 300 bottles or more, like 400 or 500.
You know, even if I were to run out, it's like a big deal. I've got like 500 other choices.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, of course.
I get it. I get that you guys like to back up your stuff and make sure you have a lifetime supply. To me, I prefer to have a bigger variety, bigger selection.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm
more
going
to experience.
Now. The duck needs to back up for the whole Balenciaga coven.
I think he's covered. I think he's covered.
How many you got, Duck?
Like 17.
Smokes.
God damn.
You could bathe in Balenciaga.
Yeah.
Love it.
Jesus.
Was it Gabe saying they used to make like Aqua de Jo or CK1? Oh no, it was maybe Victor. I remember Victor Wong from Zoologist was talking about how when I think it was CK1, when it was popular, they were selling it, like they were making it in swimming pools, like swimming pool size batches full of it. It was just like flying off the shelf.
Fuck.
Yeah, mental.
That's crazy.
Do you not have any backups at all, Eugene?
I may have a few here and there. Like I have a couple of bottles of Dior Homme, a couple of bottles of Eau d'Isfahan. And it's all by accident, really. Eau d'Isfahan. One bottle was given to me. I have several versions of like older Guerlains.
Portrait of a Lady.
I have 4 bottles of Portrait of a Lady. But some of those are like limited edition or collector's item or like an older concentration, newer concentration. I have EDTs and DDPs of Coromandel and Cuir de Russie and some of those things. Bella de Spiro. I have, nothing crazy, but not that many backups compared to you guys. Well, we got a special guest in the house, and I'm going to let him on. And this is somebody very familiar to all. This is Anuj. And Yura is back.
Yes.
Anuj.
Anuj.
I don't know if my microphone problems have been solved. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
We can hear you. We can understand you. Yes. How's it
Still
going?
sucks, right? It still sucks.
I think it's better than last time, but it's understandable.
It's better than Yura's.
Yours here. Be careful what you say. He's near you.
Sorry.
Oh,
Anush,
dude.
how's it going? Happy
You should
holiday.
just come back.
Yeah, same to you. How you guys all doing? Just a hectic little bit of retail winding down here. So, almost done now. A couple more hours. And that's it.
Couple more hours. It's almost 6 o'clock. I thought Christmas Eve, 6 o'clock. It's like, that's it. Lights out.
Yeah, but then you got to clean up and shit, right? I mean,
Yeah, I gotcha.
how are you guys all doing?
I'm
Very
very
well.
well, thank you.
Good, thank you.
Just hanging out on Christmas Eve and talking about perfume and things that we love and don't love, of course.
Some really good streams you guys put together in the last week or so. That Mr. Oppenheimer, that stream was absolutely incredible.
Thank you. I enjoyed it myself immensely. I enjoyed listening to Gabe and his stories about Creed and Pierre Bourdon. It was just lovely.
It was amazing stuff.
Yeah. We were on last night at 2 a.m. I'm not sure if you caught us then, but I couldn't sleep and I started up a stream and we ended up having like 70 people on that after 2 a.m. Mental. I thought maybe 20 people would show, but there was a lot of night owls up with me.
Your streams are a must listen,
Well, yeah, there's a lot of filler crap in between, but we try to have as much fun as we can. It's hard to fill up, the entire 3, 4, 5 hours sometimes. They're up and
I
down.
love them. They're highly entertaining.
Thank you. I
That's
appreciate
what I'm saying.
that. Thank you.
It
You
isn't
have to go
boring,
with-
like you say.
Come on.
I don't know. I guess because I'm part of them and I don't know. I don't find them. I enjoy them, but I don't find them like the most exhilarating thing in the world.
I do. I love it when I'm just cleaning up or I've got some boring paperwork to do once in a while and one of your streams comes up. I just love it. Just kick back, tune in, and at least something wonderful to listen to in the background. It's awesome.
Perfect.
Exactly.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
It ticks all the boxes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to quickly just come on, just say hi, just say happy holidays, Merry Christmas to you guys. And again, Eugene, I'm going to connect with you after the new year when I clean up for sure. We're going to do something. All right.
I look forward to that and I can't wait. What's Christmas Eve been like for you retail wise?
It's been good, a little bit weird because of the capacity limits now. So a lot of people are staying away and people will come in droves and then they go away. But it's like that for everyone. So if you look at it in the kind of step back, bigger picture, everything's good. Could be worse. Lucky and blessed. No complaints.
What's usually the best day of year for you? Valentine's Day, Black Friday.
Oh no, well, no. For us, it's usually just the 2 or 3 days right before the 24th, depending on that particular calendar year when the 24th falls. Like this year, because Christmas is tomorrow, today was very, very busy because it was a Friday, so a lot of people already had it off.
Yeah.
So last year, the 23rd was our busiest day. So
Nice. Are there any things that are selling more than others?
There's always usually well, this year for some reason there was a production problem with the Prada L'Homme. It's not a new fragrance, but kind of newish.
Yeah.
But like department stores, other chain stores have just run out of it. So for some reason that was selling a lot. And then other than that, for us, we just get our regular customers, especially my faithful men who come in at the last minute to pick the older clientele to come and pick up. Our top 3 sellers every Christmas are always Chanel No. 5, L'air du Temps by Nina Ricci, and you won't believe it, Je Reviens by Parfums Worth.
Wow.
Yeah.
Have you ever come across like a man coming in to buy perfume for his wife and then one for a mistress?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Plenty of times.
Tell us about that.
Well, so the worst story was one year in one of our retail stores, a gentleman came in and he was picking up something. This guy was a real asshole. He came in and he was buying something for his wife. And then there was a lady in the store checking some stuff out for herself. And he bought something for her because she was good looking. And she accepted it. And then he leaves and he comes back in 10 minutes later and he goes, oh yeah, I forgot. He goes, I need something for around $20. He goes, I need something for my mother-in-law.
Wow.
Damn. Wow.
Yeah, there's lots of times where men have come in and they've bought something. They say, I need 2 gifts. I need, $100 something for my wife, and then, maybe $10 less for the other.
Mm.
I hope they're doing the same to him.
Sorry?
I hope they're doing the same to him. I hope they've got multiple boyfriends.
Do you find it's more men doing it for their mistresses or women doing it for their lovers?
Yeah, I've never come across a lady customer buying something else extra. If they do it, they probably do it a lot smarter. Because,
exactly. I was about to say
dumb,
that.
Right? Guys are a little bit dumb and
exactly
don't have a lot of discretion, right? So,
damn,
it's the truth.
Is there anything at this time of year that pisses you off more than others?
Lately, it's just been about people with impatience because there's like capacity limits, so you can't have as many people in a store at the same time. But this applies to anywhere, whether you're driving in traffic in the highway or in the grocery store. Everyone just thinks of themselves that they're the only people who are in a rush. So, they'll be like, oh, I want this gift wrapped. Meanwhile, they can see that there's like 10 items being weighted that have to be wrapped from people who bought before them. But everyone thinks they're the only person on the planet and their shit doesn't stink or whatever.
Yeah. Interesting. What an interesting profession or career or whatever you want to say. I'm sure you see a ton of stuff. You ever get people trying to return stuff that they've opened but have like secretly sealed or try to hide from you?
Oh yeah. I mean, a lot of times, we've had people come in and it was something that was sealed and they'll bring it in and it's like it's an empty bottle and it's kind of obvious that they just went home and put their empty bottle inside and tried to bring it back.
Wow.
But I'm sure you can find this in any profession. There's always people who just, human beings, right? What are you going to do?
Right, but there's a big difference between a full bottle of perfume and an empty one, especially.
Oh yeah, but people are good at crafting stories. The people who are bad or evil, they're really creative in their stories, right? They'll make up and say, I took it home. I was in a rush and I didn't realize that the weight felt different, and I brought it back. And look, to my horrific surprise, the bottle was empty when I opened it up, magically.
Yeah.
Like Kevin Samuels, Eugene.
Disastrous. Disastrous.
Gents, thank you for having me. I need to go because my battery's about to die. Merry Christmas.
Thank you so much, Audrey, for coming on with us.
Same here as well. I only came on just to say goodbye. I better leave. Sorry about my troubles.
No worries. Hopefully we can catch you both again really soon.
You too. Merry Christmas to you all as well.
Merry Christmas to both of you as well.
Merry Christmas.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Have a good night. Anuj, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry, the box just fell over. I was picking it up. I didn't break anything this time, though, so it's okay.
How many bottles have you broken over your career?
Oh, man, I can't begin to count. I've once about 15 years ago, we imported a big shipment of stuff from Spain. It was like some a vintage 1881 for men by Nino Cerruti. And when it came, there was an entire, like a case of aftershave that I dropped. And I must have lost about 30 bottles in one go because I was just taking it apart from a skid and it fell and complete smithereens. That was probably the worst case, but I've smashed many bottles out of carelessness and just by mistake over the years.
It happens, and it's going to happen being in the trade.
Oh, yeah, and it's going to happen again.
So that sucks.
Absolutely, yeah.
How come Spain has so much vintage stuff?
Oh, no, that was just it's not. I didn't mean to insinuate that, we targeted Spain. It was just a supplier that happened to be in Spain,
but like in general, like Spain do have some pretty good vintage stuff.
Well, I mean, each territory has its own stock level, and just depends on a certain supplier what they have. Like this supplier that we had bought from was a small Douglas chain in off the coast of Spain. I forget the name of the islands. I can't remember. But they've got a chain of duty-free stores that are a franchise of the chain Douglas. You guys have heard of that, right?
Mm.
Right.
Douglas is a huge European, like a Sephora, but in Europe.
Yeah.
So that was a supplier who we had bought a whole bunch of stuff from at that time. But other than what you're saying about, I have really no idea if that's the case or not. To be true.
No, I mean, I've bought some. Yes, many of my bottles come from Spain that are vintage or like gems, you know.
Interesting.
Yeah, I bought my vintage Cuir de Russi, the pre-barcode, actually from Spain, a Spanish seller on eBay.
Yeah.
And it was sealed.
Wow.
Oof.
Anush, how long have you been doing this for?
Oh, well, I don't know if you remember the last time when we spoke, I told you my business is a family business started by my dad. That was way back in 1979. And then I took over the business in 1996, I want to say.
Yeah.
So, but I'm a retail fragrance baby, right?
Yeah.
This is since I was 3 or 4 years old, my first job was, rolling pennies.
All right, so I'm going to ask you the cliche question. Knowing what you know now, going back to 96, what would you have changed? What would you do differently?
I probably would have scaled back the brick and mortar a lot earlier than I did, to have given myself a lot less stress in there, and just done what I've done now in the last 10 years, but probably started maybe 5 or 10 years earlier. And hopefully if I had a time machine, probably even start the whole hoarding and collecting of older stock, if I could have started even 5 years earlier than I did.
That's what I was going to ask you next. Would you have
that would have been pretty cool.
More on vintage? And what vintages would you have looked at?
If I could have scooped up, I would have scooped up a lot more of Dolce Buy for women and men.
Yeah, that was a big one.
For men, Gucci Nobile. There's just so many. There's just so many that weren't mass produced in giant quantities like a lot of fragrances are today. So that's why they've become like such unicorns, like Casual Friday by Escada. I mean, you could probably find that they had a few different versions, but they were never produced in giant mass quantities that something today by Escada would be.
Right. What about... Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, are you just naming all the ones that I bought from you this year, Anuj?
Well, there you go. Right, I can only speak to the ones that I've come across or that I know about in terms of where I bought them from or what the value was and stuff like that.
Is that how you set the price, based on the production run?
No, first and foremost, my pricing is based on what I've paid for it or how I acquired it. And then after that, factoring in the scarcity and the condition of the product.
Do you go on eBay ever to compare prices or maybe get
I take a look. I take a look just to keep up, just to see what people are doing, because I over the last so many years, I have a lot of customers that sell on eBay that come and buy from me, and then so I'll just always gander and take a look and just go through eBay and see, and then I can sometimes recognize specifically if I sold something that was very specific and it had like a dented corner or something that I remember, and sometimes I'll even recognize like, oh, okay, yeah, that's the bottle that I sold.
Really?
Person. Oh yeah. It's because it's such an easy thing for someone who's working at a certain job, and if it's kind of like a side hustle.
Yeah.
So when you see somebody reselling one of your bottles, how does that make you feel?
Oh, I could care less. As long as it doesn't affect me, as long as that person doesn't have to come back to me for any complaints or whatever. I mean, because as long as I get the money that I want.
Exactly.
I could care less what anyone's doing, because if you do that, that's petty, and that's just paranoia, and it's wrong. It's stupid.
So Anuj,
yeah,
how do you see the resale market how do you see is like 20, 30 years from today with the fragrances we have today?
Yeah, I think it's just it's going to be just get worse in terms of just
Okay.
mass-produced fragrances. They're just getting churned out at a quicker and quicker rate. Like it's becoming uncontrollable. And then when you
Yeah.
factor in the limited editions and the flankers, which is all, the same bottle, the same mold being used, because I mean that's part of the biggest cost of making a fragrance is the goddamn mold. Once that's made, all they're doing is just making a different color produced bottle. The packaging is painted a different color, and a lot of the juice is just recycled over and over again. Like if you take something I always tell people, a classic example you can use are the current modern day Escada fragrances.
Yes.
They were one of the first to start with the flankers about 15 years ago or so. And now if you look at it today, it's like every summer, every spring, they're launching a new one. And most of the time the bottles are just the same. It's the same bottle.
Yeah.
Just with these funky names, Fiesta Carioca, Sorbetto Rosso, some other crap, Moon Sparkle,
All right, so if you were given the magic wand, the noosh, and somebody said you could correct anything you wanted to in the perfume industry, what would it be?
If I had carte blanche, like I could do anything I wanted, I would make the fragrance industry as regulated as other industries are, where there would be a lot of transparency, and when when a license of a fragrance is transferred from one company to another, there would be a mandate that you have to let the end consumer know. You have to have the trickle-down effect, where the manufacturer would have to let the distributor know. The distributor, in turn, would have to let the retailers know, and then the retailers are armed to let the end consumer know, so they can make the wise decision. That's my one and only beef with the fragrance industry is this lack of transparency. And it's like as if it's some kind of like you're hoarding nuclear weapons and it's a state secret. Like, what's the big deal if a certain company that was a smaller house, if they got swallowed up by a company like Interperfumes? Yeah, okay, that's life. It happens. But what's the big deal in having to just launch it out, and then people have to find out the hard way? The end consumer has to find out when they carefully magnify the bottom of the box to see, oh, now it's made by Interperfume, so it's different now.
So how would that change things if you did know that they're being bought by a bigger house? What would that change for you?
I think there would be a lot. Well, I think just in general, the more education is better. So for the end consumer can then walk into a store already knowing or be told when they're asking for something that, okay, hey, I just want to let you know that, if you were buying this before, now it's made by a different company. And here, now you can see, maybe it's different. Maybe it's the same. You can decide.
Oh, that's what you mean. Okay, now I see. Yeah.
Like, when if you take a look at Ralph Lauren products, like let's say Safari for Men, right? Now everything is by L'Oreal, but before that, when it like if you look at anything that's Safari now in its modern form, there was never a story, or there was never a trickle down where it was explained and it was told, so that when the retailer had it on their shelves, there are a lot of retailers that just got duped into buying Safari, and then when they get it, they say, oh, okay, this looks different now. And then they have it, and then they're stuck with it, but they don't have any idea. And then the customer doesn't have any idea. And then what happens is, in many cases, a customer will be like, well, this doesn't smell the same. This is different. And they'll accuse the retailer and say, this is fake. But in many cases, it's not. It's just because there's no education for the customer to be told that, this is now produced by a different company, which is why it's sealed or not sealed, or the seal is on this side instead of that side, or why you see a glossier box or something like that. And it's happened time immemorial. It's happened for decades.
Yeah, you said something when you were here last time that I think really stuck out. You said that back when these initial reformulations happened, that no one wanted the older version. No one wanted the Cosmere versions back then. They wanted the new stuff.
Yep.
And
Because
so it's
back
kind of
then the
funny how
attitude.
we've
Yeah.
gone full circle now. You know, people don't want the new stuff. They know that the old stuff is superior in you know, manufacturing, ingredients, quality, all that stuff. So it's if what you say came true, it would put people like me and Rich out of our. That's what we hunt for. You know.
But isn't also IFRA to blame?
Is easier what?
If IFRA or IFRA.
Well, yeah. I mean, you can, but that doesn't excuse a manufacturer from not telling their country's distributor that, look, this is what's happened. It doesn't excuse the distributor from then informing the retailer that, look, before you buy, you need to know this. And it doesn't excuse the retailer like myself from not having information to arm the end consumer with. So, I mean, you know, it's easy to pass the buck, but, you know, everyone has to be involved in it.
So, more transparency, please.
Yeah, that would be my one and only wish. If I could change something in the fragrance industry, I would like to be able to, you know, call up L'Oreal, you know, and say, okay, I want to know what's going on with this specific fragrance. What it looks now, quickly.
Yeah.
But I guess not.
You ever have anyone famous come into the store?
Yeah, years ago we had a store in the harbor front in the Queens Quay terminal, and Joan Collins came in.
Oh,
my
that's
dad
a
told
big
me the
name.
story. My dad told me the story, and she bought. Oh man, I can't even remember what it was she bought. But whatever it was she bought a lot of stuff, and then she told one of the staff that, okay, I'm buying all this. You have that tester bottle. I want it for free. Give it to me. And the staff was like, well, no, I can't do that. So she took it and she started spraying it all over herself. And she said, well, if you don't give it to me, I'm just going to empty it out here in the store on myself right here. So
Nice
the staff
lady.
was like, okay, just take it and just get lost.
Yeah, it seems quite petty. Especially for someone that you would presume had a lot of money.
Yeah, but you know.
You probably deal with a lot of personalities like that, don't you?
Oh yeah, there are a lot
people
of
that want
eccentric
stuff
people.
for free.
Yeah, but yeah, obviously, anytime, you know, a lot of people that because of the stuff that we carry, like a lot of the, you know, rare and vintage. When someone comes in and they'll buy like a haul in the store, or if they place an order online haul, they don't realize that, you know, buddy, there are 10 just like you that just placed an order like you, if not bigger. So relax.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
No one's
know
bigger
your role,
than
know your place.
Sit down. Be humble.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Eugene, what would you change? And Rich, and the other guy.
I would change trends. I would take the trends out of perfume and have every host
thank
do
you.
something unique and on their own, and instead of looking at what other brands are doing. You know, stick in your lane, find something that kind of fits the aesthetic of your brand. Have some sort of brand image and work around that.
I agree. Like Chanel.
I'm so
like
tired
Guerlain.
of every brand doing the same version of, you know, doing their own version of the same thing. It's getting boring and redundant.
Yeah.
And I like variety. I like change.
Well said.
It's like the other guy talked about before.
And just thanks a lot for having me on here quickly. It was nice talking to you guys, and hopefully we'll do this again soon. And,
Anush.
Eugene, I'm going to reach out
Thank
to
you,
you in New
Anush.
Year.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
and
thanks,
I look forward to connecting with
Cheers,
you.
Anush.
Rich, okay, guys, take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Take care. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, I gotta hop too. I gotta go have Christmas dinner with the family, so I'm gonna run as well. But thanks for having me, and thanks for the support on the first couple of weeks of my trial and error channel so far.
Yeah, let me link your YouTube channel. I completely forgot, but let me link your channel, and we'll get some people to subscribe to you. So it's just Ramsey.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna come up with a name or just leave it. I don't know. It's
Just
just
put in
Ramsey.
Ramsey vintage and it'll come up with what you're looking for.
All right, I got it here, and we're gonna post this. And if you guys all don't mind going over to Ramsey's channel and giving him a subscribe.
Yeah, the support's been awesome. I mean, I expected at least someone to come in and talk some shit to me, but everyone's been overly nice and supportive. So the community's fantastic.
The trolls won't come out until you get a little bit larger. Right now, it's just going to be like pure perfume lovers that want to enjoy content. And you're at 142 subscribers, and I know the next time we see you again, you're going to have much more than that. And
Thank you. Thanks for the
on your way. You know, your
I've enjoyed it.
Obviously, shines through, and we can see that, and we enjoy that. So, thank you for
Yeah,
sharing
you're
your
very
content
cool,
and taking
dude.
the time to create it.
Thank you. Thank you. It means a lot. Thanks for having me. Good
Cheers,
good
Matt.
Christmas Eve stream, and everyone, Merry Christmas, guys.
Merry Christmas,
Cheers,
Ramsey.
man.
Merry Christmas. Take
You
care.
too.
Cheers.
Okay. Somebody's Nishko, is that you? Do you have your YouTube turned on or something? Because I can hear feedback.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That was me.
Don't do it again. It's okay. Who else? Who's in the chat? Who's all left here? Do you guys
Where's
or should we
Pierre
kill this?
Bourdon? We
Yeah,
need Pierre.
you know, Pierre didn't come. We didn't manifest hard enough. I think we lost track of what today's stream was supposed to be about. After 10 minutes, 10 or 15 minutes, we just kind of like got derailed. But I don't imagine Pierre is going to come on. Wishful thinking, as much as I'd love to see him and hear from him and just to wish him a Merry Christmas. I'll leave it up to you guys what you want to do here. It is just past 6 o'clock Toronto time. If somebody else wants to come on, I'll drop the link really quickly. We got 64 people in the chat. Who's all left in the chat? I see Rudy. I see Justin. I see Bobby O. I see pretty much just the same faces. I see Mina Vamp. I see Klaus. I see Danielle. Drawn by Sense. That's Steve. Steve was in earlier in the midnight chat or the midnight stream. We had a 2 a.m. stream last night in the middle of the night. We had 70 people in there. We got Denby is still here. Mr. Lawman. Space.
Has anyone tried Miller Harris?
Mike V. Mike V, why don't you come on and entertain us for a bit? We'd love to hear from you. Or anybody for that matter. I've not tried Miller Harris. No, I have not.
Are they any good?
I don't
They've
know.
got a good reputation.
I don't know. Oh, Eva is here. Hello, Eva.
Hello there. Hello there. I don't know Aperol Spritz. The new Miller Harris. They've got a 50% sale off at the minute.
Dude,
If
there's
anyone's
just so much
interested
out
in
there.
it,
It's almost impossible to keep up and try everything. And then not just that, but to have some feedback and be able to, you know, share an opinion. There's just like hundreds of thousands of perfumes.
So when
That's
did
right.
these trends start?
I think it's always been a trend. Brands have always been watching others, but I think it's never been worse than it is now. Like people, you know, people say that Mitsuko was, you know, inspired by Dakoti something or other, but
Yeah, but I mean, today is like every single house.
well, there's also never been as many brands as there are today. You know, there wasn't before, you know, Dolce Gabbana. There wasn't, you know, how long has Gucci been out making fragrances? Before it was a very limited number of houses. And every year there's new and more houses coming out and they want to keep active. So the more brands there are, the more lookalikes they're going to be as well.
But I mean, even if you look back like 10 years ago, there was still a lot of variety, even throughout designers. Like if I went to Dior, I got this type of fragrances, you know. If I went to YSL, we had the opiums, we had the M7s, we had the yeah. If I went to Chanel, I had the Allure or the Antaeus, Egoist, and things like that. Today is just like Tonka and blue fragrances all over the place, and like amberwood.
Amberwood is a vicious evil, which we
Yeah,
must all
I
team up
fucking
together to
hate
get
it.
rid of. Yeah, it is. It's rotten.
You know, people
It's
keep
grim
buying it,
stuff.
and as long as people are buying them, brands will keep creating them. So it's almost like it's no fault of the brands. It's the consumers that have to be blamed as well.
Yeah, of course.
That's what people want to smell. Oh, Merry Christmas, Eva. Eva. I believe. Oh, Miller Harris has changed hands. I don't know anything about Miller Harris. We don't have a Miller Harris counter here in Toronto, or at least not one that I know of. So since then, it has released a lot of fragrances, most of which end up in discount stores. It's not a big popular brand here. I don't even know. Is it an English brand, Miller Harris?
No idea, to be honest. No idea. Could be. Sounds like it. Miller and Harris sound like English people.
They do. Rich, how are you feeling? You felt?
I'm feeling tired, but I've been feeling tired since we started. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling okay. I'm not tired at all, even though I didn't sleep last night. I went
I
straight.
was going to say, you should be feeling tired as fuck. What are you
I
playing on?
should be, right, but I'll probably crash pretty hard tonight. But I've still got some good wind.
Some good wind, have you? You want to go to the toilet?
Yeah, I'm still good. We still have 66 people here, so
Some good
I
Promaya.
don't mind going on for a little bit longer. Just need some topic to discuss.
What shall we discuss?
Shall we discuss? I don't know. I'll put the link out one more time. If nobody wants to come on, then we'll call it a night and we'll go rest. Been on for 3 hours and 30 minutes, so it is quite a stream. Discuss the new Guerlain. I haven't smelt it yet, but apparently it's a remake of their Blanche something, which was an exclusive. What was it
Blanche.
called?
Who for?
No, it was something released just a few years back. Very exclusive, discontinued now. And the new Guerlain Art and Materials is inspired by that. I think it's the same perfume, really. The musk. Mike V says we should discuss something different. Francois Demachet. And that would just be more of the same old. Have you smelled recent Lutons? I have not. Rich, have you smelled recent Lutons?
La Couche de Diable I've smelled and it's fucking fantastic, but anything newer than that, no, sorry.
Are you not bothered by the oud note in there?
In La Couche de Diable?
Hmm.
No, actually, I think it's quite nice.
All right. Would you purchase it?
Possibly, if I could get it at a decent price, I would. Yeah.
Do you have any plans for your channel in 2022? Do you have any goals for your channel?
Get 1,000 subscribers so I can stream.
All right. Would you have me on your streams?
Would you have who?
Would you have me on your streams?
Certainly not.
He would have me though.
I would.
New releases. I don't know what's being released next year. I have no idea. I don't have a clue. I know the Guerlain. That's all I have to look forward to. I don't know about Frederic Malle. Oh, the Chanel. Apparently, there's
Chanel.
a new Chanel for men. But honestly, I don't know what else. I'm sure there's going to be 3 more Dior Privé. Maybe a Hermescence. Maybe, you know, it's been a few years since they've launched those 3. Or maybe because they've launched 3, they'll take a while longer to come out with some new ones. But I wouldn't be surprised if Hermescence came out with a new release. Cartier hasn't done anything in their exclusive range other than the Oud line, but the other, you know, they have their exclusive range. It's been a while since we've gotten something from them. Hermes, Dior, Chanel. Chanel just gave us Le Lion, so we probably won't get an exclusive from them. I don't keep up with the other brands, the YSLs. I have no idea what YSL is doing, nor do I care. No interest whatsoever. I have no idea what Dolce & Gabbana is doing. Gucci's
Probably
last
a new
exclusives, I didn't care about. What's up? Le Labo's last few releases have been like bombs for me.
Wait, like all of their releases have been bombs.
They're not all that bad, but the last 2 have been like really bad. That's it, really. And probably a bunch of flankers that we have to look forward to. Yes, first Eugene release. Yes. I completely forgot. Yes.
So do you sell to Europe?
I don't know. I'm gonna try and include everybody, but I think that's going to be it might be out of my hands. I might have to leave that with somebody else. Hopefully I can find somebody to work with so I won't have to ship directly, because shipping to Europe is outrageously expensive from what I've learned in the last few weeks. Just talking to UPS, DHL, Canada Post. It's not very friendly.
I would love to have some Eugene in my life.
Oh yeah, hopefully you will, and hopefully you'll enjoy that.
I hope so.
Hopefully you'll enjoy
Truly.
that.
Will you ship to Europe if people pay for it? Like, so it's not going to be like free shipping and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just the cost of shipping, but it's also, shipping dangerous goods is it's a very tricky. I still haven't figured out. It's become an obstacle for me that I'm not sure how I'm going to overcome. It's something that I still need to work out, and I think shipping the US is going to be much easier, but shipping to Europe, which I'd love to do, just by seeing my YouTube analytics, Europe is like I think only second to US. They're ahead of Canada in viewership, so I imagine they'd be much interest there. But it's going to be a problem to get bottles there. I don't know how other brands do it, but I'll have to talk to some other owners.
Talk to Melig Perfume.
Yeah, I could.
He should know. He sells on Etsy.
And see what he does.
I think he just puts them in as just like, he just doesn't say that they're perfumes.
Oh,
I think a lot of brands are doing that.
Yes. Yes, they are.
Yes. Yeah. But
that's hella risky, though.
Yes, I'll definitely ask George. When do we get the note breakdowns? Soon, hopefully soon.
Catherine.
Hopefully soon.
That's Catherine. That's Catherine and Anoush.
Yeah, good
Catherine,
point. Yeah, absolutely. I'll discuss it with them too. I actually had a chat with Catherine from Le Parfumier, and she gave me some good tips, but it's been a couple of months since we had that chat, so I might have to go back to her. Maybe I'll get Rudy to haul them over there. Yes.
That's right.
Glassware. Yeah, a lot of people are just marking them as glass bottles or figurines, or I used to mark stuff I would ship over as cosmetics, and that always went. You might end up buying out my entire stock there. I'll have nothing left over.
If I run bottles of
hopefully I'll never have to sell it to Cody. It's not the goal.
Yes. I think there's a lot of independent like brands like MFK and Roger and stuff like that who literally simply set up their own brand so they can get bought out by the big companies.
I've actually heard that before from perfumers who say, you know, from the very moment that they start their own brand, they set it up in a way where they're creating their perfumes with the anticipation of being bought out by Estee Lauder, by Louis Vuitton, and lo and behold, their predictions have become true.
Yeah.
Why is that though? Why
Because
do you
there's
want
a lot
that?
of money to be made? Like when Louis
Okay.
Vuitton, I don't know what MFK sold his brand for or Frederick Mull sold his brand for, but there's a lot of money there.
Yeah.
And the beauty is they still get to run and operate those brands and probably get paid quite well to do so. And now they have all this capital and they can very easily go and do something else and invest that capital into another possibly brand or whatever else they're interested in.
But usually the quality drops, right?
It can. Doesn't have to be. It's not necessarily, but sometimes the quality drops if the brand is not sold.
Yeah, that's true. You got a point once again.
I'm gonna have to go in a minute. I'm tired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. That's a good shout. Maybe we'll all go. And I think this will probably be it. We'll probably won't see you guys for about 10 days. I'm going to be with my kids and enjoy them unless something weird and interesting happens where they kind of disappear for a bit. But it's been lovely. It's been great. I hope you guys all enjoy your Christmas. Spend some time with your family and do things that you love and enjoy.
Yes.
Rich.
Merry Christmas to all.
Merry Christmas
Likewise.
to you, Rich. Nishko. Is it Nishko or Nisko?
You can say Nishko.
Nishko.
Perfect.
Yeah. I just that's how I visualize it would be.
Yeah, that's the right way to say it. Yeah, guys, thank you so much for the opportunity, and I hope you all have a great Christmas.
The pleasure is all
Thank
ours.
you,
Thanks
too.
for coming on and sharing your time with us. Merry Christmas. Everybody in the chat, Merry Christmas. I wish you all the best, and we will see you very soon. Have a great night. Much love.
Bye.
Bye-bye.